Chapter 1040. The medicine works. The medicine worked, and Mao Lin felt like his body was filled with endless energy. Scorpion didn't lie to him. This vigor pill was really useful. At this moment, Mao Lin felt like he was a Superman. Looking at the short man's mocking smile, Mao Lin took the initiative to attack. He swung his fist at the short man. Bam! Mao Lin's fist landed on the short man's body, but at the same time, the short man made his move as well, his fist landing on Mao Lin's chest. Mao Lin paused. The short man's fist looked really strong, but in reality, it didn't hurt at all. Yes, it didn't hurt at all. Mao Lin felt as if he had been pushed, not hit at all. Mao Lin couldn't help but be confused. What did this mean? Could it be that the short man was holding back, or was it a feint? But Mao Lin rejected the idea immediately. Holding back? How was that possible? The short man didn't look like someone who would hold back. He'd already killed 2 people. Why would he need to kill Mao Lin? A feint? That was even more impossible. Who would do that in front of a crowd? This was a real battle of strength, not a martial arts TV series. Feints? Feints were the same as courting death. Mao Lin, on the other hand, was quite satisfied with the punch he'd just thrown out. He could clearly feel that the strength of this punch was much stronger than usual, and it felt much better. The short man, on the other hand, staggered from Mao Lin's attack. The short man didn't expect Mao Lin to be this strong, going head-to-head with him. Plus, Mao Lin's attacks were quite strong as well, and even though the short man was a pseudo-golden class master, he was still feeling some pain. Die! The short man's eyes flashed fiercely as he swung his fist at Mao Lin again. Bam! It was another head-on collision, and Mao Lin's fist hit the short man again, while the short man's fist hit Mao Lin as well. The two's brute force fighting style immediately drew a round of cheers from the audience. But most of the people here thought that the short man would win for sure. Even if Mao Lin fought him head-on, he wouldn't be a match for the short man. They cheered, "Go, Red Dragon," because the short man's headgear was a red dragon. Mao Lin, on the other hand, wore a gray dog mask, but it didn't cover all of his hair. Some green fur could be seen. But no one was cheering him on. As far as they were concerned, Mao Lin was dead. Red Dragon had already won 2 rounds in a row, without any pressure at all. This Mao Lin, on the other hand, didn't have anything special about him. He dared to fight Red Dragon head-on, but he didn't seem to be that strong. Mao Lin was puzzled. The second punch from the short man didn't seem to hurt much, as if he was playing with someone. This wasn't normal. Previously, the short man had made a feint, but what about now? He couldn't keep making feints now, could he? Could it be that the energy pill not only increased his strength, but it could also be used as a defense? Otherwise, why didn't he feel anything when the short man hit him? At the thought, Mao Lin was overjoyed. This way, as long as he fought the short man with his impenetrable body, he'd have the upper hand. He wasn't good at fighting, but he wasn't afraid of being hit. He was like an invincible Superman. With that thought, Mao Lin roared and charged at the short man without a care in the world, starting to beat him up. No matter how the short man hit him, he didn't care at all. He just kept punching, punching, and punching. The audience below the stage was dumbfounded. What was going on? Why wasn't Mao Lin afraid of death? This kind of desperate fighting style was simply terrifying. Mao Lin's chest was caved in from the short man's punches, but he didn't seem to feel it. He was still fighting the short man. Jiang Wen, on the other hand, frowned as he looked at Scorpion. Can this guy do it? Why does it feel like he can't? He's going to die, isn't he? Scorpion wasn't too sure. It's been fine the last few times. The people who use the medicine always beat their opponents at the last moment. But he's going to die before he can even beat his opponent. Jiang Wen felt that something wasn't right today. He turned to the professor. Professor Ian, what's going on? This opponent is too strong. Right now, the drug is only in the initial testing stage. After injecting it, dealing with ordinary people is naturally no problem. But the person we are dealing with now should be a practitioner. Professor Ian also frowned. Let's find Fighter Li and ask him. Practitioner? No way. A practitioner fighting in an underground fight? Jiang Wen paused and turned to Scorpion. Go get Fighter Li and see what's going on with this guy. Yes. Scorpion replied and went to look for Fighterly. Soon, Scorpion brought Fighterly into the room. Fighterly said, Master One, you were looking for me? Yes, look at this guy. How come he can't beat him even after the injection? Jiang Wen pointed at the screen. Fighterly looked at the screen. From what I can see, this guy looks like a physical practitioner, but he's not golden class yet. He's a pseudo-golden class, and Professor Yin's medicine shouldn't be able to beat him, unless the person injected with the medicine is abnormally strong. Oh, so you're saying that this young Maolin can't win? Jiang Wen frowned. It doesn't bode well for him. Fighterly said with certainty. Fuck. Jiang Wen couldn't help but curse. I bet more than 20 million on Red Dragon today. If Red Dragon wins, I'll lose everything even if the odds are 1-1. Don't worry, Master One. I'll fight the next round. Fighterly waved his hand casually. With my strength, killing this Red Dragon is a piece of cake. Alright. The Red Dragon won 3 rounds in a row, so the bet for the 4th round will be even bigger. I'll be able to earn it all back with interest this time. Jiang Wen nodded, feeling reassured. Chapter 1041. Fighterly wanted to steal his opponent till he fell down. The only thought in his mind was to attack and kill the short brute, and then he'd have 300,000. Maolin was stronger than the previous 2 opponents to the short brute, but to a quasi-golden class physical practitioner like him, it wasn't much. Professor Yin's medicine was strong, but it was still in the early stages of experimentation. It couldn't create death warriors that could fight practitioners yet. These people were more than enough to deal with normal people, but they had no advantage against practitioners. Red Dragon didn't have an easy time in this match, and it was a bit hard. The punches he took were a few times more than the previous 2 matches, but he wasn't injured at all. He was a physical practitioner, and his body was extremely strong. Maolin's strength wasn't bad, but he didn't hit Red Dragon's vitals at all, and so he raised his hands up like nothing had happened to him, welcoming the victory of 3 consecutive championships. The crowd cheered, and these were all people who had bet on Red Dragon's victory, and Red Dragon really did win again. Bossly, how much did you bet today? A fat white boss asked another boss beside him. I didn't bet much. Hee, I bet 5 million. Although the boss said that he didn't bet much, he still said it with some pride. Then you'll get 10 million back in one go. Congratulations. The fat boss said enviously, I only bet 300,000. If Red Dragon comes out tomorrow, I'll bet 5 million as well. No, 10 million. Oh, you're not afraid of losing all 10 million? The boss asked hesitantly. Lose? How is that possible? Red Dragon is so strong. I'll bet if he comes out. The fat boss gritted his teeth. Look at today. None of the Red Dragon's opponents are weak, but this Red Dragon is too strong. You're right, but I'm afraid that the arena will be rigged and Red Dragon will lose on purpose. The boss said worriedly. Lose on purpose? How is that possible? The fat boss said with disdain. You've seen quite a few matches, in which one of them wasn't a fight to the death. Which one didn't have people dying? The final victor was always the one who killed the enemy. How could it be faked? Unless the Red Dragon is a fool, why would he collude with the boxing arena to fake it when he's so powerful? The key is that there's no benefit at all after the fake. He's already dead. So what's the use of any benefits? That's right. The boss who won the money also nodded. Then I will bet more tomorrow, but I have to see how many matches this Red Dragon will fight tomorrow. If it's going to fight 3 more matches, I will bet on the later ones. I will wait and see what happens first. You're really cunning. The fat boss said, I won't look at the situation. I'll bet directly. In this way, if they really fight all 3 rounds, I'll bet 10 million. With the compound interest, I'll earn 80 million in the last round. Wow, 80 million. I can buy a yacht and marry a few concubines. This is so cool. Although I won't bet on the first match, I'll bet on the later matches. I'm going to bet 100 million. The boss had also made up his mind. Sometimes it was like this. When you were hesitating, there was a like-minded person beside you who was encouraging you, so you could quickly make a bold decision. Then I'll bet 20 million. That's all I have. The fat boss didn't back down. In fact, there were many similar conversations going on in the spectator stands. They were all people who were excited about winning today, and they were all discussing what to bet on tomorrow. Of course, there were some of Jiang Wen's eyes and ears in the spectator stands as well. These people were there to create the wind and influence the people who placed their bets, guiding the public's opinion. But today's situation didn't need these eyes and ears. Everyone had decided to bet on the Red Dragon tomorrow. Jiang Wen was quite satisfied with the situation. He had lost quite a bit of money today, but he could earn it back 100 times over tomorrow. Fighter Li, I'll leave it to you tomorrow. Jiang Wen said to Fighter Li, if we win tomorrow, we'll get an astronomical amount of money. You're too courteous, Master Jiang Wen. We're all working for the Firewolves. What's there to ask? Fighter Li waved his hand and said carelessly, but I have a request. Can you ask Scorpion to help me with something, Master Jiang Wen? Oh, what request? Just tell me, Fighter Li. Jiang Wen said quickly. It's like this, I've taken a fancy to a girl. Fighter Li said with a laugh. Haha, appetites, no problem. Since Fighter Li has his eyes on her, I'll let Scorpion catch her for you. Jiang Wen waved his hand nonchalantly after hearing that it was just a small matter like this. Master Jiang Wen, this girl is from a good family. It'll be a problem if we take her by force. Fighter Li wasn't stupid. He would have done it himself if he could. Why would he need Scorpion? Oh. Jiang Wen paused. What's the problem? Does she have a background? She doesn't. Fighter Li shook his head. What's there to worry about if she doesn't have a background? Jiang Wen didn't understand. It's not the first time we've caught people. We've caught so many people already, and nothing's happened, right? This is different. Fighter Li shook his head. Master Jiang Wen, this girl is for me to play with. I can't kill her before I'm done playing with her. Moreover, this little girl is very charming. I plan to let her follow me for a long time as a concubine. What I'm afraid of is that if she sneaks out and tells others about our underground boxing arena, then it will be troublesome. Oh, you're right. Jiang Wen nodded. Then we'll throw money at her. Master Jiang Wen, I'm thinking of letting Scorpion trick the girl's father into coming here to gamble. We'll make him owe a ton of money. He won't be able to pay it back, and we'll force him to give his daughter to me. That way, the girl would come willingly, and naturally, she wouldn't be able to run away. Fighter Li said. Chapter 1042. Chapter 1040. Wu Chuntian's return. All right, that's easy. Leave it to me, Scorpion. Scorpion patted his chest and promised. He walked the streets every day to trick people, so this was a good job for him. What's the girl's name? What's her father's name? This girl's name is Yu Yuanyuan. She works at a burger shop near a primary school. Her father sells groceries at a nearby market. His name is Yu Ren. His family is poor, and he hasn't seen much of the world. Just a few words and he'll be hooked. Fighter Li had done a thorough background check on Yu Yuanyuan. Although Fighter Li frequented the brothels every day, the people he interacted with were mostly young ladies. He was more interested in pure girls. Yesterday, he went to a burger shop to eat a burger, and he was attracted to Yuanyuan. He did a simple investigation of Yuanyuan's background, and when he came back to the arena, he was thinking about how he could ask Jiang Wen to help him get Yuanyuan. Jiang Wen invited him to fight tomorrow, and so he asked for it. As expected, Jiang Wen readily agreed. This wasn't a big deal to Jiang Wen at all. Wu Gonggao, the old man of House Wu, was finally discharged from the hospital. But this hospitalization was a blessing in disguise. He broke through to mystic mid-phase, and this made him very happy. Could this be the legendary saying that there can be no construction without destruction? If that was the case, he might as well let Chuntian piss him off a few more times and let him stay in the hospital a few more times. Wouldn't he be able to break through to Earth class then? Of course, Gonggao was just thinking about it. Although this breakthrough had something to do with the hospitalization, the main reason was that he was really close to breaking through. He just hadn't reached the barrier of mystic mid-phase yet. When he was at home, Gonggao practiced every day without a day of rest. But after staying in the hospital, he couldn't practice anymore. He could only rest on the bed and rest for a while. When his body recovered, he broke through to mystic mid-phase in one go. Wu Gonggao had also thought about it carefully. The breakthrough this time might have been due to this period of quiet recuperation, allowing himself to adjust his state, and then cultivating again to break through in one fell swoop. But no matter what, Gong Gao had become a mystic mid-phase, and House Wu's position was solidified. Chuntian saw that his grandpa had recovered and broken through, so he didn't want to stay in House Wu anymore. He wanted to get to Songshan as soon as possible to find Sun Jingyi, wanting to expose her relationship with Lin Yi. In Yinjing, he had a meal with Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao. He knew that the two were a couple, so Lin Yi couldn't be Sun Jingyi's boyfriend, unless Lin Yi had a foot in both boats. But it didn't matter. Chuntian planned to invite Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao, and Sun Jingyi out for a meal. If Lin Yi was two-timing, it would let Sun Jingyi see the ugly side of Lin Yi. Of course, whether or not it would destroy the relationship between Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao was none of Chuntian's business. He didn't care at all. Chuntian rushed back to Songshan in the middle of the night. He wasn't in a hurry to call Jingyi when he got there, but he called Wangba first. Why? Wangba, it's me, Wu Chuntian. Chuntian said. Bro Chuntian, hello? Wangba was overjoyed when he received Chuntian's call. The Xiao family's current situation wasn't ideal, and if House Wu could help them out, they wouldn't be removed from the list so quickly. Especially since Wu Gonggao, the old man of House Wu, had broken through to mystic mid-phase. It was only a matter of time before he reached Earth class. At this time, House Wu's words were very firm. Oh, how's the thing I asked you to do? Chuntian, naturally, didn't know about the changes in the Xiao family. In fact, House Wu had been busy with Gonggao's matters recently, and they didn't have the time to ask about other people's matters. Gonggao had just broken through, and House Wu was busy spreading the news. They didn't have the time to listen to other people's news. It's done. The company has been registered, and we've rented an office building. We've hired the employees as well, but we've just arrived in Songshan, and we don't have many customers. The company has been open for so many days, and no customers have come looking for us. Wangba said. There were countless trading companies in Songshan, and if they didn't go out to do business after opening, hoping that customers would come looking for them was just wishful thinking. But Chuntian didn't care about that. It didn't matter if they didn't have customers, or if they didn't make money. Now that Gonggao had broken through, Chuntian was able to apply for a large sum of money to hit on girls. Old Wu's only wish right now was for Chuntian to marry Jingyi into House Wu's house. That way, House Wu's position would rise again. And so, Chuntian opened this company to show off. He only wanted the position of the general manager. As for whether the company made money or not, he didn't care. He had been practicing how to show off recently, and he felt that he was doing very well already. After eating with Xiao Xiao, Chuntian was enlightened. Girls nowadays all liked guys who knew how to show off. Only by showing off would people admire you. Chuntian found what he was lacking, and so he took the chance to correct it. This company was the first step in his plan to show off. He wanted to be on the same level as Sun Jingyi. Sun Jingyi had a company and could be considered a CEO. If he wanted to pursue Sun Jingyi, he had to be a CEO as well. The second step was to invite Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao, and Sun Jingyi to have a meal together. Not only would it let Sun Jingyi see Lin Yi's face, but it would also allow him to show off his skill in showing off. That Xiao Xiao really knew how to cooperate with him, so it was killing two birds with one stone. It doesn't matter if the company makes money or not. I brought back 10 million to hit on girls this time, so let me know if it's not enough. Chuntian said nonchalantly. Chapter 1043. Chapter 1041. The real side of Sun Jingyi, did you print the name card I told you to? Chuntian asked. Yes. I used the gold-plated name card that you told me to make. It looks very high-end. Wangba said quickly. What about the sports car? Did you buy it? Chuntian asked. Yes, I bought it according to your instructions. It's an Audi TT. Wangba said. It's a new car, and I don't have a license plate yet. Oh, there's no need for that yet. I'm giving it to someone as a gift. Chuntian said. I'll go get it tomorrow morning. But in front of people, you have to say that this car was earned by the company, understand? Understood. Wangba said quickly. After calling Wangba, Chuntian dialed Sun Jingyi's number. Sun Jingyi was soaking in the bathtub, quietly enjoying the warmth of the moment. It was too difficult for a girl to start a business in Songshan alone and support a company. She had to disguise herself every day, pretending to be a mature and cold female CEO, but deep down, she was still a weak girl. After removing the mature makeup, Sun Jingyi looked like a pure teenage girl. Her big eyes, long eyelashes, and hair casually falling down, combined with the bubbles in the bathtub, she looked like a little princess from a fairy tale. If Linny was here, he would probably widen his eyes in shock. Was this really Sun Jingyi? Why did she look like the girl next door? In fact, Linny had a good eye for people. Although he didn't know what Sun Jingyi looked like after removing her makeup, he could guess that Sun Jingyi was faking it. This surprised Sun Jingyi back then. Although Sun Jingyi's life was fake, she had no choice. She had to survive. She had to make a name for herself and show her family that she, Sun Jingyi, was a capable person without relying on her family. She wasn't a marriage tool for her family's benefit. However, without the support of House Sun, Sun Jingyi was like any other grassroots businesswoman, quietly running a small company, moving forward bit by bit in the fierce competition. Facing her family's forced marriage, or rather, the forced marriage of a few people in her family, Sun Jingyi chose this difficult path. She had to keep going, and she had to make some achievements. Picking up her phone, Sun Jingyi casually flipped through the album and saw a few pictures of Lin Yi. Sun Jingyi couldn't help but frown. She hadn't contacted Linny for a long time. But because Wu Chuntian didn't bother her anymore, Sun Jingyi didn't have a reason to look for Lin Yi. As for Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi was full of curiosity. It couldn't be said that she liked him. Sun Jingyi knew that even if she didn't agree to the marriage with House Wu, she couldn't just randomly have a boyfriend. If she randomly had a boyfriend, it might make her grandpa angry. In this generation of the Sun family, there weren't many juniors. Those who successfully broke through the first level of the internal martial technique were also very few. If the Sun family didn't find a helper, they wouldn't be kicked out of the ranks of the aristocratic families, but they would gradually decline. So Sun Jingyi's criteria for choosing a partner was very clear. It had to be someone she liked, and he had to be capable. Sun Jingyi wanted to show her uncle, second uncle, and aunt that she didn't need them to introduce her in a hurry. The boyfriend she found was also very outstanding. Currently, Sun Jingyi's feelings towards Lin Yi were only curiosity. Perhaps she had a good impression of him, but that was all. Sun Jingyi was a very rational person, and it could be seen from her daily disguise. Full. Jingyi sighed inwardly. Linny had entered her sights, but it seemed that he wasn't good enough yet. His punches and kicks were strong, but compared to a practitioner, there was still a world of difference between him and a practitioner. Sun Jingyi didn't have much information. She didn't have any contact with her family, and she didn't have any interactions with the police. So Sun Jingyi didn't hear about any of the big events that happened in Songshan, and she didn't know that Lin Yi almost went back to his hometown to seek refuge. Just when she was thinking about these messy things, an urgent ringtone sounded, and it scared Sun Jingyi. Sun Jingyi looked at the caller ID and frowned. But after hesitating for a while, she still picked up the phone. Sun Jingyi said faintly, as if she didn't see the caller ID. Jingyi, I'm Wu Chuntian. Chuntian's voice came from the other side of the phone, and he sounded a little excited. I'm back in Songshan. Oh, you're back, Sun Jingyi said faintly. Yeah, I've invested in a company here. Haha, looks like I'll be stationed in Songshan from now on, but we'll have more chances to meet each other. Chuntian said pretentiously. Oh. Sun Jingyi wasn't interested in whether Chuntian invested in a company or not. He was a member of a noble house, and if he used his family's connections to do business, he would make money no matter what he did. So if Chuntian wanted to make money, it was easy, but Sun Jingyi couldn't compare. From Sun Jingyi's point of view, if he couldn't make money with the connections of a noble house, wouldn't he be an idiot? Haha. Long time no see. Let's go for breakfast tomorrow morning? Chuntian suggested impatiently. Tomorrow morning? I need to go to the company. I don't have time. Sun Jingyi rejected Chuntian's suggestion faintly. Haha, let's go out for a chat. It's been a while. Let's invite Linny too. Chuntian purposely brought up Lin Yi. As far as he was concerned, as long as Linny went, Sun Jingyi would definitely go as well, and Sun Jingyi would be able to see the ugly face of Lin Yi's two-timing. Lin Yi? Sun Jingyi paused and couldn't help but feel a ripple in her heart. Sun Jingyi didn't think that Lin Yi was a bad guy, but he was a thief. If she brought a thief back to House Sun, Wouldn't her grandpa die from anger? Yeah, I met Linny in Yinjing, and I even treated him and his friends to a meal. It was a great gathering. Chuntian said. So now that I'm back in Songshan, I'm going to have another meal with them. Let's go together tomorrow? Then, all right. Hearing that Linny was going, Sun Jingyi reluctantly agreed. Her impression of Chuntian was getting worse and worse, and although her family told Sun Jingyi to interact with Chuntian more often, Sun Jingyi just brushed it off. All right, I'll pick you up at your company tomorrow morning. Chuntian wasn't happy that Sun Jingyi agreed to have breakfast with him the moment she heard Lin Yi's name, but when he remembered that he would be able to expose Lin Yi tomorrow, he endured it. Chapter 1044. Chapter 1042. You're cute. Early in the morning, Linny went to the hospital to pick up Tang Yun as usual, but Tang Yun said to Linny after getting in the car, "Let's go to Time Street and pick up Xiao Xiao." Oh? Lin Yi blinked. She said that she woke up this morning and realized that her car was out of gas, so she wanted you to pick her up. Tang Yun waved her phone. Xiao Xiao just called me. Isn't there a gas station in front of her house? Linny didn't know whether to laugh or cry at this excuse. Is that so? Tang Yun blinked before bursting into laughter. This Xiao Xiao. Next time I'll get her to come up with a more reasonable excuse. You knew she was lying? Linny smiled. Yeah, she admitted it. Tang Yun smiled as well. You won't blame me for not telling the truth, right? I won't. Lin Yi shook his head. With Tang Yun's personality, naturally, she'd want Xiao Xiao to be happier when Xiao Xiao was in this state. So it was normal for her to work with Xiao Xiao to trick him. With that, Lin Yi drove the car to Xiao Xiao's neighborhood. At Xiao Xiao's neighborhood, Lin Yi saw Xiao Xiao, who was dressed up nicely, standing in front of her house with a smile on her face. Her petite figure was filled with an indescribable youthfulness. This was completely different from someone who was walking towards the end of their life. If Linny didn't know what was going on with Xiao Xiao's body, he wouldn't believe that she was really going to die. Xiao Xiao had her usual smile on her face as she ran over excitedly when she saw Lin Yi's car. Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao sat in the back of the Beetle, leaving an empty seat in the front passenger seat. Heh, I'm sorry, the car ran out of gas, so I had to ask you to pick me up, Xiao Xiao said apologetically to Lin Yi after getting in. Oh, okay. Lin Yi nodded. Okay. Xiao Xiao didn't understand Lin Yi's response. What did he mean by okay? Tang Yun covered her mouth and giggled. Xiao Xiao still didn't understand. He drove the car to the entrance of Xiao Xiao's house and turned into a small street, stopping at a gas station after a few turns. My car's out of gas, too, Lin Yi said faintly, not exposing Xiao Xiao's lie. But Xiao Xiao's face went red. She was a weird girl who lied without blinking, but that was only for other people. She was facing Lin Yi now, and she couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Although Lin Yi didn't expose her directly, what was the difference between this situation and him exposing her? Xiao Xiao didn't think that Lin Yi would know that there was a gas station near her house. It was very secluded, in a small street. If it wasn't someone who lived nearby or someone who was very familiar with the area, they wouldn't be able to find it. But Lin Yi found it, and he wanted to refuel here. Lin Yi got out of the car and went to get the gas gun. Xiao Xiao, who was in the car, held her burning cheeks, fidgeting. Ah, what do I do, Yun sis? Does he know that I lied to him? Haha. Tang Yun looked at Xiao Xiao mischievously. So what if he knows? Then he won't believe me anymore, Xiao Xiao said worriedly. Haha, it's fine. He guessed it already. Tang Yun smiled. Ah, I guessed it already. Xiao Xiao was even more embarrassed. She didn't think that Lin Yi would know that she was lying. Lin Yi got in the car after refueling and didn't say anything else. He started the car and drove towards the school. But the more Lin Yi didn't say anything, the more Xiao Xiao felt uneasy. If Lin Yi said something to her, she'd feel more normal. So there's a gas station here. I didn't know. I'll come here to refuel too. Xiao Xiao pretended like she just found out. Lin Yi, honey, you're amazing. You even found a gas station on a small street like this. Oh, it's not that amazing. I just need to keep an eye on it, Lin Yi said with a smile that wasn't a smile. Haha, I couldn't keep an eye on it, Xiao Xiao said with a laugh. Oh, I saw a receipt from the gas station in your car. There's this address on it, so I wrote it down, Lin Yi said. Huh. Xiao Xiao's eyes and mouth were wide open. She was so shocked that she couldn't say a word. Her body stiffened, and her forehead almost hit the roof of the car. She stared at Lin Yi blankly, her face burning up. She felt like she was going to explode. Ah, I don't want to live anymore. This is too embarrassing. Xiao Xiao was going crazy. Can't you just expose me? Can't you just let me have a little? I'm going to kill myself. You're pretty cute. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile at Xiao Xiao's reaction. Oh, is that so? Xiao Xiao was overjoyed at Lin Yi's words. Her eyes turned into crescents. Really? Ha ha ha, Yin Yun sis. He said I'm cute? Yeah. Tang Yin smiled as well. She finally understood why Ming Yao agreed to let Yushu be a small wife. She wouldn't be lonely with a small wife like this by her side. She'd be really happy in the future. Unconsciously, Tang Yin realized that she'd accepted Xiao Xiao's existence in her heart. If she could be with her for the rest of her life, that would be a pretty good thing. But it was just a good thought. Xiao Xiao's ending was destined to be very sad. Tang Yin couldn't help but feel sad at the thought. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, didn't seem to know what it felt like to be sad at all. Her eyes and lips were all curved up, like an emoticon. She was so happy. Lin Yi looked at Xiao Xiao and found it hard to connect her with the emotional Xiao Xiao who wrote her wishes on her phone. In front of people, she was a happy person, and it seemed like she'd be happy at any time. She made everyone around her happy with her, but behind the scenes, she was still a pitiful girl on the brink of death. Lin Yi parked the car at the food street behind the school. When he got out, Xiao Xiao looked at the Lamborghini near the wall and couldn't help but start laughing. Chapter 1045. Cake with love to outsiders. She looked like Tang Yun's best friend, and no one would suspect that she had anything to do with Lin Yi. It wasn't until they reached the school building and Tang Yun entered Class 9's classroom that Xiao Xiao acted a little closer to Lin Yi. They were about to reach class anyway, and there weren't many people in the hallway. Xiao Xiao didn't hold back anymore and put her hand in front of Lin Yi. Question mark. Lin Yi blinked. What are you doing? Holding hands. I didn't fight for anything when my wife was here, but now that she's gone, can't I get better treatment? Xiao Xiao said urgently. Quick, it's my turn. Huh. Lin Yi smiled and held Xiao Xiao's hand. It only took a few steps for them to reach Class 5, and Lin Yi let go of her. It was just a short distance, but Xiao Xiao was happy enough. She hummed a little tune as she followed Lin Yi into class, waiting for Lin Yi to sit down before quietly sitting beside Lin Yi like a little wife. Seeing how easily Xiao Xiao was satisfied made Lin Yi feel pity for this girl, but there was nothing Lin Yi could do. His medical skills weren't good enough, and he couldn't let Xiao Xiao live. Lin Yi, honey, I brought you good food. Xiao Xiao sat down and opened her bag excitedly, talking to herself. Oh? Lin Yi really liked Xiao Xiao from the bottom of his heart now. This was why Lin Yi didn't get angry when she lied to him about running out of gas. If it were before, Lin Yi wouldn't have spoiled Xiao Xiao like this. I made a cake with love myself. Xiao Xiao was a little smug as she rummaged through her bag and pulled out a food preservation bag. Here it is, dang 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 dang. Love cakes. Huh. Xiao Xiao was excitedly trying to show Lin Yi the cake she made, but when she took it out, she realized that the cake in the bag was squashed. The heart-shaped pastry was originally decorated with cherries and strawberries, but now it was crushed beyond recognition. Oh, Xiao Xiao was going crazy. I woke up at 3 in the morning. How did this happen? How unlucky. Xiao Xiao slapped her forehead, a little dejected. She was a little sleepy after baking the cake in the morning, so she put the cake in her bag and fell asleep. She didn't even know what was going on when she fell asleep, using her bag as a pillow. The pastries were still in her school bag. Now that she had pressed on them, the result was obvious. But Xiao Xiao forgot about it after she woke up. She called Tang Yun, dressed up, and left with her bag. She forgot about using her bag as a pillow. She didn't even think that the cake she made was crushed. Lin Yi looked at Xiao Xiao in front of him. He was really happy, really touched. Xiao Xiao had written clearly on her phone that she wanted him to fall in love with her and then die in front of him to get her revenge. But Lin Yi didn't believe her anymore. If it was just a lie, why would she wake up in the middle of the night to make a cake with love? Whatever, throw it away. I'll make it again tomorrow and use a food preservation bag this time. I learned from my mistakes. Xiao Xiao said, a little depressed. I'm too stupid, putting it in my bag and using it as a pillow to sleep. Sigh. Haha. Linny couldn't help but laugh at Xiao Xiao's words. Why are you laughing? Xiao Xiao pouted. Why would I throw it away? It's just a little out of shape, nothing bad. Lin Yi took the food preservation bag from Xiao Xiao's hands and opened it, stuffing the cake into his mouth. I haven't eaten anything this morning, so I'm pretty hungry. It's not bad. Lin Yi finished the cake in 2 or 3 bites, not minding the shape and beauty of the cake at all. Xiao Xiao didn't expect Lin Yi to eat it just like that. She paused. No more? Lin Yi asked after eating. No more. I'll make more tomorrow. Xiao Xiao was happy again, her eyes looking at Lin Yi a little more tenderness. Lin Yi was touched, but so was Xiao Xiao. She didn't even know how to eat the cake after it was squashed like that, but Lin Yi ate it without a care, even asking if she had any more. This made Xiao Xiao feel that Lin Yi was really, really nice to her. No one had ever treated her this well since she was young, and she'd never been in a relationship before. Falling in love all of a sudden made her feel that everything was so perfect. If it was possible, she really didn't want to die. She was a little scared. The more she developed with Lin Yi, the heavier her heart became. If this continued, the final parting would be very painful. She didn't want to. She didn't want herself to be in pain, and she didn't want Lin Yi to be in pain. The reason why she didn't make friends or date before was because she didn't want to be sad on the final day, but now everything had changed. She had friends before she knew it. Tang Yun and Yu Shu were her good friends. She had a lover too. Xiao Xiao could feel that she and Lin Yi were heading towards danger, and the two were getting more and more immersed. Sigh, what should I do? Xiao Xiao felt a headache coming on. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't think much of it. He finished the cake and drank 2 mouthfuls of water before tossing the bag into a nearby trash can. You don't have to wake up so early to do this, it's troublesome. Lin Yi was worried about Xiao Xiao's health. She didn't have many days left to live, and waking up in the middle of the night to make cakes. Wasn't she just waiting for her condition to worsen? It's not troublesome. I'm very happy. Xiao Xiao shook her head. I'll prepare it tonight, and I'll bake it tomorrow morning. I didn't prepare it this morning, so it's a little troublesome. Lin Yi didn't say anything else after seeing Xiao Xiao's insistence. She was happy that Xiao Xiao was doing this, and Lin Yi was happy to make her happy. Friday night, race. Have you contacted them? Lin Yi changed the topic. Yeah, I've contacted them. Xiao Xiao's face brightened up at the mention of racing. I contacted some of the racers I used to play with, and they signed up. But please don't lose. I can't afford 200,000. Haha, you don't believe in my skills? Lin Yi didn't care at all for these civilian races. Chapter 1046. Chen Tian's invitation, as long as you have faith in me, Lin Yi teased Xiao Xiao. Oh, of course I have faith in you, but the car won't do. Xiao Xiao said. Mountain roads. Their modified cars won't be able to do much. Lin Yi shrugged. That's true. Who would dare to speed up on that kind of road? Xiao Xiao thought about it and calmed down. Chen Tian went to Wangba early in the morning to get his car. His company was quite grand, taking up 2 floors by the roadside. The signboard was very bright too. Chen Tian was very happy. He patted Wangba on the shoulder. Not bad. Chen Tian Trading Company, Limited. Good job. Give me your name card. Here it is. Wang Dao didn't expect that Chen Tian didn't care about the company's profits at all. He was only concerned about the company's appearance. He calmed down and handed a box of gold-plated name cards to Chen Tian. Bro Chen Tian, are you satisfied with this? Yes, you did well. Chen Tian took the card and looked at it before putting it in his pocket. He got in the car and drove to Sun Jingyi's place. He parked the car below Sun Jingyi's place and called Sun Jingyi. He wanted to give Sun Jingyi a surprise. This car was a gift for Sun Jingyi. He remembered that Sun Jingyi said that she liked Audi cars, but she didn't like them that were too eye-catching. So she bought an Audi A4L. In Songshan, where the rich gathered, an Audi A4L was a very ordinary car. After about half an hour, Sun Jingyi finally arrived. But today, Sun Jingyi didn't look as serious as before. Her makeup was more playful and cute. Chen Tian was taken aback. He knew that Sun Jingyi's mature look was fake, but he didn't expect Sun Jingyi to look so cute. He hadn't seen Sun Jingyi in this style for many years. Chuntian thought that Sun Jingyi dressed up especially for him. He was overjoyed and quickly walked over. Jingyi, you look so pretty today. Oh, Sun Jingyi, of course, didn't dress up for Chuntian. Only she knew why she dressed up like this. Women dressed up for those they liked. But who was Sun Jingyi dressed up for? Chuntian was used to Sun Jingyi's cold attitude. He didn't mind and walked to his car. He opened the door for Sun Jingyi. Jingyi, please, ? Sun Jingyi looked at the Audi TT in front. This is your car? Yeah, I started a company and made money, so I bought a car. Chuntian was very proud of himself when he said that, showing off his coolness to the fullest. Although he hadn't gone out for a while, he had read some novels about coolness, like So Pure So Flirtatious prequel. The main character, Lu Lei, was very coolness, and Chuntian had always wanted to imitate him. However, he neglected one thing: coolness required strength, and without strength, he'd be an idiot. Oh, I'll drive my own car. Sun Jingyi rejected Chuntian's invitation and walked to her car. Chuntian's face froze. He remembered that Sun Jingyi wouldn't sit in his car with him. If he gave the car to Sun Jingyi later, it would be Sun Jingyi's. She'd want it then, right? Chuntian wanted to give the car to Jingyi right now, but then he thought about giving it to Jingyi at the dinner table. With Xiao Xiao helping him act cool and complimenting him a bit, wouldn't he be able to gain a lot of face? With that thought, Chuntian decided to hold it in a little longer. He'd give the car to her during dinner. If Chuntian didn't say that he'd treat Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi wouldn't have agreed to eat with him. She'd use work as an excuse to cancel the meeting. But when Chuntian said that he'd treat Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi hesitated. She hadn't seen Lin Yi for a long time, and Sun Jingyi really wanted to see Lin Yi. No matter what, she was half his lover, and Sun Jingyi had a good impression of Lin Yi. She would be happy if the two met occasionally. The two cars headed towards Songshan's first high school, one after the other. Sun Jingyi led the way, and Chuntian followed behind. Sun Jingyi parked the car at the food street behind Songshan's first school. This was where Sun Jingyi picked up Lin Yi last time. She didn't know that Lin Yi was a student of Songshan's first school, but she thought that Lin Yi lived nearby. Sun Jingyi's car stopped next to the Beetle, and Chuntian's Audi TT stopped next to Sun Jingyi's Audi A4L. The two got out of the car, and Chuntian walked over. I'll call Lin Yi now? Where is this? Should we wait for him here? Oh, Sun Jingyi frowned and walked towards the street not far away. She didn't want to stand so close to Chuntian. It made her uncomfortable. As for why they parked the car here, it was because they picked up Lin Yi last time, and the most important reason was that Sun Jingyi didn't want to wait with Chuntian in front of her house. Sun Jingyi didn't want others to see her with Chuntian, and Sun Jingyi felt that it would be embarrassing if people she knew saw her. As for coming here, it was just something Sun Jingyi did. But Chuntian didn't seem to notice Sun Jingyi's disgust. Sun Jingyi left, and he followed beside Sun Jingyi, calling Lin Yi as he walked. Not long after Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao entered the classroom, the phone in his pocket vibrated. Lin Yi took it out and looked at the caller ID. He didn't know it, but Lin Yi still picked it up. Hello, who are you looking for? Lin Yi? Chuntian asked. I am, and you are? Lin Yi didn't recognize Chuntian's voice. He didn't care about people like Chuntian, and naturally, he wouldn't remember his phone number or voice. I'm Chuntian. I'm back in Songshan now with Jingyi. I want to treat you and your girlfriend to a feast. Do you have time? Chuntian asked. With Sun Jingyi? Girlfriend? Lin Yi blinked, but understood immediately. The girlfriend Chuntian was talking about must be Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi wanted to reject him directly, but thinking about Xiao Xiao's personality, he decided that she might like to go to parties. Wait, I'll ask Xiao Xiao. Chapter 1047. The car was smashed. Xiao Xiao, Wu Chuntian called saying he wants to treat us to a big meal. Do you want to go? Lin Yi turned to Xiao Xiao. Wu Chuntian? Xiao Xiao blinked before remembering who Chuntian was. That Iron Fist Wu? He wants to treat us to a big meal? Let's go. I love big meals. When? When? Lin Yi asked Chuntian. Right now, Jingyi and I are at the food street behind Songshan's first school. I heard you live nearby? Chuntian said. Now, do you want to go? Lin Yi didn't answer Chuntian's question but asked Xiao Xiao instead. Of course. Xiao Xiao didn't have any interest in studying at all. She was about to die. Why would she study? She didn't even have time to study for college. And so Xiao Xiao happily agreed. Then wait for me, we'll go now, Lin Yi said to Chen Tian and hung up. Lin Yi didn't have a good impression of Chen Tian, but he didn't have a bad impression either. He was just one of Sun Jingyi's pursuers. If there was a conflict, it was just that he stole Lin Yi's wallet. But Lin Yi stole his wallet as well. In comparison, Chen Tian's loss was bigger. Especially when they were in Yinjing. Chen Tian had been screwed over by Feng Xiao Xiao to the point where he lost a lot. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was a bit troubled. Did this Chen Tian have a screw loose in his head? Didn't he learn from last time's lesson? He wanted to treat Xiao Xiao to a meal now that he was back in Songshan. But thinking about how Sun Jingyi was with Chen Tian, Lin Yi felt that he probably wanted to let Sun Jingyi see his relationship with Xiao Xiao, to let Sun Jingyi know that he was a two-timer. But Lin Yi didn't care at all. He knew what his relationship with Sun Jingyi was. Lin Yi was just Sun Jingyi pretending to be her lover, in name only. There was no real relationship at all. And so, bringing Xiao Xiao with him didn't bother Lin Yi. As long as Xiao Xiao could eat happily, Lin Yi would be satisfied. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao cleaned up, and Lin Yi sent a message to the Miss and Tang Yun, saying that he was bringing Xiao Xiao to eat with a friend. The Miss and Tang Yun both knew about Xiao Xiao, so they didn't say anything about Lin Yi bringing Xiao Xiao out alone. They only told Lin Yi to be careful and take care of Xiao Xiao. Yu Feng was a practitioner, after all. His butt was pricked, but he could still walk after being bandaged. He was from House Yu, and naturally, he had Dr. Kong and Miracle Dr. Guan's Jinchuang and Jinchuang medicine. He didn't hesitate to apply it on himself, Song Ming, and Peng Hu. But Peng Hu's egg was cut off, and this medicine couldn't fix it. He could only be an Eggman in the future. In the morning, the three of them came out of the hospital. With the Jinchuang ointment, they didn't have to worry about the slow recovery of the wound. However, although the Jinchuang ointment was good, it couldn't be applied to the wound and make it better immediately. The bleeding stopped and the wound healed, but it still took a while for the wound to be as good as before. Yu Feng was worried about the new car he bought yesterday. It was a Lamborghini, and it didn't even have a license plate. It was parked behind the school's food street. What if the street vendors scratched it? So after leaving the hospital, the three of them stopped a taxi and went to the food street behind the school. However, what caught his eye was not his Lamborghini, but an Audi TT, which was parked in the spot where he had parked before. Where's my car? Yu Feng blinked. Master Xia, the car is over there. Song Ming pointed weakly at the corner. Ah. Yu Feng looked at his car and was dumbfounded. His car was parked at the foot of the wall, and the body was full of holes. It was dented and smashed, and the paint was peeling off. It didn't look like a new car at all. It looked like a scrapped car. My Lamborghini. Xie Yufeng quickly ran over and saw his beloved car in such a state. His heart ached. He was rich, but the money he brought was limited. He wanted to hit on girls, so he got a flashy car. He didn't expect it to be smashed like this in just one day. Who did it? Who? Who smashed my car? Young Master Xie. It should be done by the person in the Audi TT. Wang Tsongming pondered for a moment and analyzed. There are only 3 reasonable parking spaces here. The parking spaces are full, and there is no other place to park except under the wall. There is a food street here at night, so it can't be seen if it was parked elsewhere. So, from the current situation, it must be that the Audi TT felt that our car came later and occupied its parking space, so it pushed our car under the wall and smashed it like this. Oh, isn't that Audi TT Xiao Xiao's car? Did she do it? Does she have that much strength? Yu Feng thought that Ming's analysis made sense, but he found it strange that Xiao Xiao had that much strength. I think it's Xiao Xiao who told Lin Yi to do it. Lin Yi's a practitioner. Pushing a car to a corner shouldn't be hard at all. Ming said, Fuck, I haven't even taught him a lesson yet, and he's trying to bully me. Xiao Xiao, I'll push you onto the bed one day, and CK you to death. Yu Feng gritted his teeth. Smash it. Smash both Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao's cars. That beetle is Lin Yi's. Wait. Song Ming waved his hand, stopping the furious Yu Feng. Master Xia, please calm down. Oh? What? He's trying to bully me, and I can't fight back. Yu Feng hemphed. No, Master Xie. I think it's best not to smash Lin Yi's car. Songming waved his hand. Master Xie, Lin Yi's a practitioner. You think he'll just let you go after smashing his car? He's a practitioner, and so am I. He's just a mystic early phase, and I'm a mystic early phase peak. What's there to be afraid of? Yufeng smiled coldly. Master Xie, but you have to hide your strength. You can't expose it. You have to investigate in secret, Songming said. Chapter 1048. Chapter 1046. Perfect timing, but he didn't want to just let this go. Wasn't this too much of a waste? After some thought, Yufeng said, then let's smash Xiao Xiao's car. That Yushu girl messed with us yesterday. Xiao Xiao must have had a part in it. She must have been the one who came up with the idea to smash the car. Let's do it as a warning to Lin Yi that we're not pushovers, and we can't touch Lin Yi's bottom line, killing two birds with one stone. All right, let's do it as a warning to Lin Yi. Songming nodded in agreement, then let's just smash Xiao Xiao's car. Lin Yi doesn't have any proof anyway, and if we don't admit it, what can he do to us? It's not Lin Yi's car, it's just a girl's car. Lin Yi won't lose any face. Then what are we waiting for? Let's do it. Yufeng had been itching to give it a try. He picked up a brick from the ground and walked over to Xiao Xiao's Audi TT, slamming it down on the windshield without saying a word. Pong. The windshield was smashed by Xie Yufeng's brick. Songming and Peng Hu, on the other hand, found their tools and started smashing the car with Yufeng. The Audi TT's alarm went off, deafening, but Yufeng didn't mind at all. The louder the alarm, the better he felt, as if he had vented all his frustrations. Bitch, let's see how you act. Let's see how you smash my car. I'll smash yours too. I'll smash you to death. Yufeng cursed as he smashed the car. One day, I'll *CK you to death. You little bitch. Because the three of them were working together, the Audi TT was smashed beyond recognition in an instant. Chuntian and Jingyi were waiting for Lin Yi at the crossroads when they heard the car alarm. Chuntian paused, but turned his head the next moment, his face extremely ugly. There were actually 3 hooligans smashing his new Audi TT. Chuntian was enraged. How dare you smash my car? Do you want to die? This was a gift for Sun Jingyi. Chuntian immediately went berserk, rushing over to Yufeng, Songming, and Peng Hu. He swung his arm and slapped them across the face, sending Yufeng tumbling to the ground. Yufeng didn't put up any defenses at all, and Chuntian was a physical practitioner, so Yufeng fell into his trap with a moment of carelessness. My car. My beloved car. Chuntian touched the battered Audi TT, almost crying. This is my present for Jingyi. You bastards. How dare you smash my car? I'll kill you. Chuntian attacked again, sending Peng Hu flying with a punch. Songming wasn't spared, either. Neither of them were practitioners, so they weren't even worth mentioning in front of Chuntian. They landed on the ground, their butts split open once more. Yufeng was confused by Chuntian's sudden appearance, but after hearing his words, he was puzzled. This was his car? Wasn't this Xiao Xiao's car? What was going on? Could it be that he hit the wrong car? But Yufeng was the young master of Haosu, so what if he hit the wrong car? How dare he hit the young master of Haosu? Did he not want to live anymore? These few days, Yufeng had suffered a lot from Lin Yi, Yushu, and Xiao Xiao. How could he take it lying down in front of a random person? He jumped up from the ground and looked at Chuntian coldly, pointing at his Lamborghini. You're the one who smashed my car? Your car? That broken car is yours? Yufeng looked in the direction Yufeng was pointing at and frowned. Why would I smash your car? Humph, even if you didn't smash my car, I did smash yours. What are you going to do about it? Yufeng's face turned dark. You're just a physical practitioner at the early phase of golden class, and you dare act cool in front of me? You really don't know what's good for you. Chuntian had shown his strength just now, and Yufeng, naturally, knew who he was. But he didn't know who he was, nor did he know who Sun Jingyi was. He was the trump card of Haosu, and he had never shown his face in public. He didn't interact with other noble houses either. This was why he was able to hide his identity and come to Songshan. Wouldn't he be exposed if someone he knew saw him? What the hell? You smashed my car, And you dare talk to me like that? Don't you know who I am? Chuntian didn't think that Yufeng wouldn't kneel down and beg for forgiveness after being caught red-handed. Instead, he was acting like a dead pig that wasn't afraid of boiling water. Chuntian was infuriated. He wanted to use these three to build up his heroic image in front of Sun Jingyi. I don't need to know who you are. What I do know is that you're dead. Yufeng circulated his qi secretly. He couldn't hold it in anymore these few days. In front of Lin Yi, all he could do was hold it in. But in front of these outsiders, he didn't need to hold it in anymore. Since this guy in front of him didn't care, he'd use him to calm his anger. Yufeng smiled coldly. Just a physical practitioner at the early phase of Golden Class. I'll let you know the power of a spiritual practitioner at the peak of the early phase of Mystic Class. A spiritual practitioner at the peak of the early phase of Mystic Class. Chuntian paused and looked at Yufeng's strong aura. He was a physical practitioner, but he could feel the qi of a spiritual practitioner. The difference between the two was huge, but Chuntian could tell that Yufeng wasn't weak at all. In fact, he was stronger than him. Just when the tension was high, Lin Yi came with Xiao Xiao. He froze when he saw Yufeng and Chuntian fighting. But when he saw the Audi TT beside Chuntian, Lin Yi understood everything. Did Xie Yufeng smash the wrong car? Did he smash Chuntian's car? But Chuntian wasn't a match for Yufeng, so Lin Yi had to help him. After all, Lin Yi hated Yufeng more. This Wu Chuntian, on the other hand, was a little stupid and arrogant. Lin Yi didn't have any special feelings for him. Wu Chuntian, Xie Yufeng, you guys know each other? Lin Yi pretended not to see the conflict between the two and asked curiously. Fuck! Yufeng was going crazy. Yes, he really was going crazy. Why was Lin Yi like a ghost? Why did he appear everywhere? He was just about to use his qi to teach Chuntian a lesson, and now Lin Yi was here. Yufeng quickly retracted his qi in fright. He couldn't let Lin Yi discover his true strength. Chapter 1049. He had to endure. One had to admit that Lin Yi was quite a bad guy when he started playing dirty, even worse than Xiao Xiao and Yu Shu. Lin Yi had been an assassin before, and assassins were people who would do anything to kill. Other than assassination, getting someone else to do the dirty work was also the highest level of an assassin. If he could get someone else to do the dirty work, then why not? Lin Yi had a pretty good grasp of the situation now. Yufeng's Lamborghini was smashed, and Chuntian's Audi was parked right where the Lamborghini was yesterday. Naturally, Yufeng thought that it was the owner of the Audi who smashed it. And the owner of this Audi, from Yufeng's point of view, was Xiao Xiao. In the entire school, only Xiao Xiao had an Audi TT, and so Yufeng was certain that he and Xiao Xiao were the ones who smashed his car. Yufeng was probably afraid of exposing his strength in front of him, so he didn't dare smash his car, afraid that he would cause trouble for him. He could only use Xiao Xiao's car to vent his anger. But little did he know that Xiao Xiao didn't drive here at all, coming in Lin Yi's car. The Audi parked here was Chuntian's. How strong was Chuntian? How strong was Xie Yufeng? Lin Yi knew very well if these two were to really fight, Chuntian would be the one at a disadvantage. But Lin Yi couldn't let Chuntian lose now. In comparison, Lin Yi hated Yufeng more, and Chuntian still had to treat him and Xiao Xiao to a feast. What was the point of eating if he got hurt? And so, Lin Yi spoke up, and Yufeng dispersed his qi. His expression was one of pain and helplessness. Wah, Iron Fist bro, are you going to show off your Iron Fist? Hurry up and use your Iron Fist to cripple this guy. It's time to show off your heroic spirit. Xiao Xiao saw that Chuntian and Yufeng were fighting, cheering. She didn't want Iron Fist to lose, either. After all, he still had to treat her to a feast. How could she eat if he got beaten to death? Really? Chuntian was overjoyed when he heard Xiao Xiao's words. He thought to himself, this girl sure knows what I'm doing. She's working with me to act cool the moment she arrived. Treating her to a few more meals wouldn't be a loss. With her around, wouldn't my heroic image be established? Sun Jingyi will also like me. Yeah, if you look at TV dramas, you are usually the male lead. Now is the time for the male lead to show his power. Hurry up and kill him. Xiao Xiao continued to bluff. This Xie Yufeng was really annoying, and Xiao Xiao was pissed off at him. She didn't have much time left, and Xiao Xiao wanted to enjoy her friendship and love in this limited time. But this Yufeng just had to come and mess with her, annoying her. This guy was wasting her life. Xiao Xiao didn't have time to deal with him. And so, from Xiao Xiao's point of view, if Iron Fist could cripple this Ye Yufeng and make him stay in the hospital for a year and a half, that'd be awesome. She'd be dead by the time he came out, and he wouldn't even be able to find her for revenge. He'd probably be in the hospital again. All right, no problem. Watch me teach this little bastard a lesson. Tian was pumped up by Xiao Xiao's words. He raised his hand and smashed it at Yufeng. Yufeng's eyes were filled with venom. He hated Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao to the core. These two came at the right time. Right at the right time. Were they doing this on purpose? Moreover, this trap to smash the car, was it deliberately set up by them? Yufeng was furious, but his mind was clear. He knew that this wasn't a trap, and he could only treat it as a coincidence. A wise man knows when to retreat, and revenge is a dish best served cold. With that thought, Yufeng took a deep breath and looked at Tian. Bro, how much is your car? I'll pay you. Pay? Do I look like a penniless person to you? Tian raged. I'm using you to act cool. How am I supposed to act cool if you pay me? Tian, naturally, wouldn't let this go so easily. Without waiting for him to speak, he started using his iron fist arts and started beating Yufeng up. Yufeng was humiliated. He was the young master of Houseu, and he'd been beaten up twice in just 2 days. He'd even been injured once. How was he supposed to live like this? What kind of people did Lin Yi have around him? Why were they all like this? Yufeng didn't even have time to think before the fist landed on his body. He could only protect his vitals and crouch on the ground, not daring to fight back. He was afraid that Lin Yi would notice his chi. Lin Yi, just you wait. One day, I'll return the humiliation I've suffered today to you tenfold, 100-fold. After a while, Tian realized that Yufeng wasn't fighting back, and he felt that it was pointless. Beating a dead man didn't make him look heroic at all. So he kicked Yufeng when he was tired. Are you dead or not? If you're not, get up and pay me. Yufeng was a mystic early phase peak. How could he be knocked out so easily by a golden class early phase physical practitioner? He got up from the ground gloomily, took a deep breath, suppressed his anger, and asked, how much? 5 million. Tian called out. Wah. Yufeng paused. An Audi TT for 5 million? What kind of joke was this? 5 million was enough to buy 10 of them. Hurry up, stop bullshitting. Do you want to get beaten up again? Did I not beat you up enough just now? Tian glared at him angrily. You mother****. Yufeng couldn't take it anymore. A golden class early phase physical practitioner dared to talk to him like this? Did he not want to live anymore? Yufeng was at his limit. He had an urge to kill this guy even if he had to expose his strength. If Lin Yi interfered, he'd kill Lin Yi on the spot. Even if someone came to investigate, Yufeng could say that he didn't know Lin Yi's background. It was just a conflict that turned into a tragedy. He couldn't be blamed, right? He didn't do it on purpose. Plus, it was the enemy who started it. Songming saw that Yufeng was about to reveal his strength and jumped in fright. He ran over and grabbed Yufeng's hand. Master Xia, hold it in. We have to hold it in. Chapter 1050. His girlfriend admires others, but Lin Yi still killed Ubaid and injured Uncle Pai. And so, Yufeng knew that if he really killed Lin Yi today, it'd be fine if Lin Yi didn't have a strong background. But if he did, then Houseu would be in danger after he killed Lin Yi. If the hidden Houseu didn't come out, then the common world would be the one in trouble. With that thought, Yufeng gritted his teeth. All right, Songming, give him 5 million. Tian was just saying it casually. Wasn't that what this thing was? He was asking for a high price, waiting for Xie Yufeng to pay him back. Tian's bottom line was 500,000, and he only spent 500,000 on the car. He hadn't even registered it yet, so he didn't lose anything. But who knew that this idiot Yufeng would agree? Tian was overjoyed. He didn't think that he could be this strong when he acted like a hero. The guy was scared. Yufeng transferred 5 million to Tian's account and brought Songming and Penghu back to school, depressed. He was a little confused. Back when he was studying in Yinjing, how prestigious was he? He didn't even need to use House Yu's name, and he was the king of the school. He didn't even need to use his chi to deal with the students, and he became the focus of the school. He could get whatever he wanted, and he could hook up with any girl he wanted. If it didn't work, he could just throw money at them. He was basically successful. But after arriving at Songshan, it seemed to have completely changed. His handsome face didn't work anymore, and the girls here seemed to have a problem with their taste. They all liked Lin Yi, tough guys, and not pretty boys like him? What kind of taste was that? Plus, the girls here didn't seem to like money, and his advantage was gone. Lin Yi, just you wait. Once I get to know your background, I'll take your life. And your girls, I'll take them all. Yu Feng said angrily as he walked. Yeah, Linny is too much. We'll kill him sooner or later. Songming said. On the other side, Chen Tian's Audi was smashed, and he couldn't drive it anymore. He could only ride with Sun Jingyi. Jingyi, can I ride with you? Chen Tian said, embarrassed. I can't drive this car anymore. Sun Jingyi naturally didn't want Chen Tian to ride with her, but she couldn't let him ride with Lin Yi either. Lin Yi and Chen Tian weren't close, and it wasn't guaranteed that Lin Yi didn't have a car. Jingyi didn't know that the Beetle was Lin Yi's car. Lin Yi, you sit in the front passenger seat. Sun Jingyi hesitated and said to Lin Yi, since Chen Tian's car couldn't be driven, she could only let him sit in her car, but Sun Jingyi definitely didn't want Chen Tian to sit next to her. Lin Yi's attention was on Yu Feng and Chen Tian, and when he heard Sun Jingyi's words, he turned to look at Sun Jingyi. He was stunned. The person in front of him was Sun Jingyi, but compared to the Sun Jingyi he saw last time, she was much more youthful and lively. Sun Jingyi's appearance could be said to be very old-fashioned, pretending to be mature, but now it seemed that this was Sun Jingyi's true face. Right now, Sun Jingyi looked about the same age as Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao. Even if she was older, it wouldn't be more than 1 or 2 years. Xiao Xiao looked at Sun Jingyi, then at Lin Yi, and couldn't help but frown. Just what was the relationship between this pretty girl and Lin Yi? Why did she let Lin Yi sit in the front passenger seat? They weren't here to ruin the good things between her and Lin Yi, were they? Xiao Xiao didn't want to fight with her love rival anymore. She didn't know how many days she had left to live, and if she wasted it on fighting with her love rival, how was she supposed to enjoy love? She just made friends with Tang Yun and Yu Shu, and she didn't have to worry about fighting with them. Where did this Sun Jingyi come from? Linny honey, what's your relationship with this pretty girl? Xiao Xiao whispered into Lin Yi's ear. Pretty girl? Linny blinked, not sure if he should laugh or cry at the nickname Xiao Xiao gave Sun Jingyi. Nothing, just a fake lover to trick Chen Tian. Oh. Xiao Xiao calmed down after hearing that it was just a fake lover. As far as she was concerned, it didn't matter if it was real or fake. As long as it didn't threaten her position as a small wife, it didn't matter. And since Lin Yi was just Sun Jingyi's fake lover, Xiao Xiao naturally wouldn't worry about Sun Jingyi fighting with her. With that thought, Xiao Xiao agreed without hesitation. Then hurry up and sit in the front passenger seat. Then you'll sit in the back with Chen Tian? Lin Yi blinked, not expecting Xiao Xiao to be this generous. Yeah, that idiot just got 5 million, that's 5 million. I'll think of a way to get more, and then we'll be rich. Xiao Xiao said sneakily. Huh. Lin Yi smiled. 5 million wasn't much to Lin Yi, but since Xiao Xiao was so interested, Lin Yi naturally wouldn't stop her from scamming people. Iron Fist bro, it's been a while since I talked to you. Let's sit in the back, and you can tell me more about your recent heroic deeds. Xiao Xiao smiled as she waved at Chen Tian. Her eyes squinted into a line, her face full of admiration. Chen Tian was still holding a grudge against Sun Jingyi letting Lin Yi sit in the front passenger seat, but after hearing Xiao Xiao's words, he started smiling again. If Xiao Xiao was in the back row, she'd be able to act cool with him, and that'd be a pretty good thing. It was much better than sitting in the front. With that thought, Chen Tian quickly nodded. All right, I'll tell you about some of the recent things. Sun Jingyi looked at Xiao Xiao and frowned. Was this girl Lin Yi's girlfriend or Chen Tian's pursuer? Why was she so passionate about Chen Tian in front of Lin Yi? What was going on? Is this your girlfriend? Sun Jingyi looked at Lin Yi and asked softly. Yeah. Lin Yi didn't deny it. Since he'd accepted Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi naturally treated her as his girlfriend. Oh, but she seems to like Chen Tian a lot? Sun Jingyi reminded Lin Yi. Like him? Haha, you'll know soon. Linny knew that Sun Jingyi meant well, so he wasn't angry. Chapter 1051. Chapter 1049. Xiao Xiao's true goal. The four got in the car, and Sun Jingyi asked directly, "Where are we going?" Ugh. Chun Tian wasn't familiar with Songshan, and it was a sudden idea to treat Sun Jingyi to a meal. He didn't know where exactly to eat, and now he was in a difficult spot. He couldn't just say he didn't know, could he? He could only laugh it off. There aren't any good restaurants in Songshan. It's far from Yinjing. That's true. The best hotel in Songshan is Starlight Hotel. It's a far cry from the big restaurant in Yinjing that Iron Fist Bro treated us to last time. Xiao Xiao nodded. A high-class person like Iron Fist Bro would definitely go to the best restaurant. Haha, it's not that high class. As long as Jingyi likes it, it's high class everywhere. Chun Tian was very pleased with Xiao Xiao's cooperation. But let's go to Starlight Hotel then. It's not as good as Yinjing, but it's a good place in the countryside. I often receive customers there. Chun Tian had a company in Songshan, and if he didn't know about the hotels in Songshan, wouldn't it be a little fake? In order to not arouse Sun Jingyi's suspicion, he followed Xiao Xiao's lead and went to Starlight Hotel. And he couldn't thank Xiao Xiao enough in his heart. She was so cooperative. Bro Chun Tian, what did you just say? Receive customers? Did you open a company here? Xiao Xiao asked. Chun Tian almost kneeled down and kowtowed at Xiao Xiao's words. You really are my mother. You know me too well. This level of cooperation was the best in the world. I was just about to bring the topic to my company. Haha, I opened a trading company. Here's my name card. With that, Chun Tian took out his name card box from his pocket and took out a few name cards, giving one each to Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi, and Sun Jingyi. Sun Jingyi was driving, so after taking the name card, she threw it to the side. Lin Yi, on the other hand, took a look and put it in his pocket. Only Xiao Xiao, after taking the name card, opened her eyes wide in shock. Wow, is this the legendary gold-plated name card? I heard that only the CEOs of the world's top companies use such high-end business cards, right? This is the symbol of success. It's just a business card. Chun Tian was delighted. It's such a big company. It'd be weird if we didn't do something to show off. That's true. Xiao Xiao nodded. Looks like your company is pretty big, Bro Chun Tian. You must be making a lot of money, right? It's all right. It's just some pocket money. Chun Tian nodded mysteriously. A day's worth of profit is only enough to buy a few Audi TTs. Wow, that's amazing. I had to save up for years just to afford an Audi TT, and you can buy a few in a day, Bro Chun Tian? Xiao Xiao's eyes were wide open, twinkling like little stars in her eyes. This is just the beginning. We'll make more money in the future. Chun Tian said proudly. Then should I call you Bro Chun Tian, or CEO Wu? Xiao Xiao asked. Haha, either is fine, either is fine. Chun Tian could feel the pores on his body opening up. This Xiao Xiao was practically made for his career as a pretentious prick. House Wu is one of the noble houses, and with their resources and connections, it's easy for them to start a company and make money. As long as you're not an idiot, you'll be able to make money. Sun Jingyi said coldly. Wah. Chun Tian froze, his face turning awkward. Sun Jingyi was right. If a noble house's heir started a business, they wouldn't lose money at all. They had connections all over the place, and as long as they found the right path, they'd be able to make a lot of money. But Chun Tian didn't have the heart to do business at all. He only started a company to show off in front of Sun Jingyi, so he was losing money instead of making a single cent. According to what Sun Jingyi said, he'd become an idiot and an idiot. But Chun Tian couldn't refute that, because it'd be confirming the fact that he was an idiot. That's true, but that depends on how much you earn. There aren't many people like you, Bro Chun Tian, earning money every day, which means that you're a very powerful person. Xiao Xiao said. Chun Tian's face lit up with joy when he heard Xiao Xiao's words. This Xiao Xiao was just too much to his liking. Madam, that's great. She solved the awkwardness with just one sentence. She made him one of the best among the noble houses. Haha, I'm just a little bit stronger than the average person. Chun Tian said proudly. Yeah, didn't you see how domineering Bro Chun Tian was when he taught those bastards a lesson? Xiao Xiao said in admiration. Bro Chintian said, "Do I look like someone without money? So imposing." Haha, that's right, a bunch of bastards. Thinking that they'd lose money after wrecking my car? Dream on. If I didn't beat them up so badly that they couldn't even recognize each other, then I wouldn't be Iron Fist Wu. Chintian laughed heartily. He'd already accepted the nickname Iron Fist Wu. He felt that it was very domineering. Yeah, the money they paid was nothing to you, Bro Chintian. It was just a day's profit, right? Xiao Xiao asked. Of course, 5 million is nothing to me. Chintian nodded in agreement. It's just a day's worth of profit, I guess. Yeah, that's what I said. Bro Chintian asked them for money because he wanted to teach them a lesson, so that they wouldn't wreck cars so easily in the future. Xiao Xiao nodded. That's right, or else 5 million wouldn't even be enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. Chintian said, acting cool. Oh, but 5 million is nothing to you, Bro Chintian. But it's a lot of money to a poor person like me. Bro Chintian, why don't you give me the money, and I'll buy a good car? It's not like you're interested in the money anyway. Xiao Xiao said seriously. Wah. Chuntian's eyes went wide, stunned. He didn't think that Xiao Xiao would ask him for money. Sun Jingyi was driving, and her hands shook when she heard Xiao Xiao's words. The car almost went off course. She finally understood what Xiao Xiao meant earlier. She was setting up a trap for Chintian. She pushed Chintian to a high point, and now he couldn't come back down. If he didn't pay up, then what he said before would just be bullshit. Chapter 1052. A step-by-step trap. In this trap was a step-by-step trap, making Chintian fall into the trap unknowingly. He wasn't prepared at all. Boiling a frog in warm water pushed Chintian to a new height. If he didn't agree to Xiao Xiao's request, then his high and mighty image would crumble instantly, and he would fall from his high position. Jingyi knew very well what kind of person Chintian was. He liked to show off, and in a nice way, he liked to be in the limelight, but in a bad way, he liked to show off. It wasn't very elegant for a girl to say it, but it made sense. Xiao Xiao had been working with Chintian to act cool the whole time, making Chintian look like an extremely powerful businessman, earning tons of money every day. He didn't even care about 5 million. Sun Jingyi understood why Chintian would brag in front of her. He wanted to show off in front of her, so that she would worship him. But Chintian's idea was a failure. Sun Jingyi knew what kind of person he was, and Sun Jingyi didn't like people like him at all. Sun Jingyi liked smart men, but of course, they had to have strength as well. From the looks of it, Linny agreed with the first point, but whether or not he had the strength remained to be seen. In Sun Jingyi's eyes, Linny was just a backup boyfriend, so Sun Jingyi didn't care about the relationship between Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao. She hadn't made up her mind yet, so there was no need for her to participate in the competition. Even if she had made up her mind, Sun Jingyi wasn't confident that Lin Yi would be able to get her family's approval. So, under these circumstances, Sun Jingyi wouldn't do anything. From her perspective, from the day she left home, she only had two choices for love. One was to find a man strong enough, stronger than Chintian, and shut her family up completely. The other way was to find a man that she liked, secretly be with him, and live a shady life. At least on the surface, this relationship couldn't be made public. It wasn't a big deal to Sun Jingyi, but she was afraid that her family would secretly take revenge on that man. That was the same as harming others. In order to prevent this from happening, if Sun Jingyi chose the second path, she would willingly give up her identity and position, willingly becoming a secret lover. At least on the surface, she had to let that man have a normal and complete family in order to confuse House Sun's eyes. As for eloping, Sun Jingyi didn't even think about it. It wasn't realistic. The Sun family's connections and ears were very wide. They could hide it for a while, but they couldn't hide it forever. There would be a day when it would be exposed. At that time, there would be big trouble. Sometimes, Sun Jingyi was very sad. Her parents were dead, and her position in the Sun family was a little unloved. If it weren't for the fact that old Sun was still alive and doted on her a lot, her uncles and aunts would have pushed her to the edge a long time ago. Doing business in Songshan, without elder Sun's permission, she would have been captured and married to Chintian a long time ago. How could she wait for Chintian to chase after her? So, in Sun Jingyi's heart, She had a natural dislike for Chuntian, not to mention liking him. Now that Chuntian was humiliated in front of Xiao Xiao, she was very happy to see it. It'd be best if Xiao Xiao came every day to humiliate Chuntian, making him unable to stay in Songshan anymore. Chuntian's face was red, and he didn't know how to answer. Yes, he was a little reckless, but no matter how reckless he was, he knew that money was a good thing. The money he brought from the Wu family to pick up girls was only 10 million yuan. Now, he had 5 million yuan in his account. He was feeling smug and was thinking of using the 5 million yuan to show off. In the end, he did show off, but it didn't achieve the effect he had expected. In his opinion, he would have to show off a few times, right? Now, it was all used up after one time. Wasn't it a little too expensive? At this rate, he wouldn't be able to use the 10 million twice. But some things had already been said, and if he went back on his words now, not only would he lose his image, but he was also worried that Xiao Xiao would get angry and not cooperate with him anymore. How would his heroic image stand out then? With that thought, Chuntian could only bear with the pain. He gritted his teeth and put on a nonchalant smile. It's fine. It's fine. It's just 5 million, right? It's nothing. Give me your card number. I'll transfer it to you right now. Haha, I knew it. Bro Chuntian is really generous. Anyone who marries a man like you would be happy. They'd probably die from happiness. Xiao Xiao said happily. But it was a little ironic. Happy would die. That's right. Anyone who marries Chuntian would probably really die. He didn't even do anything, and he'd already given away 5 million. If this went on, wouldn't he lose all his wealth? Who would want to marry a man like this? Sun Jingyi could hear the sarcasm in her words as well, and she couldn't help but find it funny. This Xiao Xiao was really smart, not taking advantage of the situation. What was even funnier was that the idiot Chuntian didn't notice anything amiss. He was grinning like an idiot. Haha, don't fall for me. I already have someone I like. Chuntian was very satisfied with Xiao Xiao's compliment, and he made the call with a smile. Sun Jingyi glanced at Lin Yi and saw that he was calm, as if he was used to this kind of thing. She couldn't help but frown, and she became even more curious about Lin Yi. 5 million wasn't much to House Sun, but to Sun Jingyi, it was a huge sum of money. Sun Jingyi's trading company didn't even make 5 million a year, and Lin Yi's wife could easily scam 5 million, but Lin Yi didn't seem to care at all. Was he pretending to be calm, or did he not care about the money at all? Xiao Xiao looked like she was born in a rich family, but not a very rich one. Otherwise, she wouldn't be interested in Chentian's 5 million. But Lin Yi didn't care about it. What a strange combination. Sun Jingyi drove into the parking lot of Starlight Hotel and parked the car in an empty spot. Chapter 1053. Keep screwing over, sir. Is there a total of 4? A waiter came over the moment they entered the hotel lobby, asking Chuntian and Lin Yi. Yes, give us a room. Chuntian nodded. Sir, you 4 are here for breakfast, right? Why don't you take a booth? There's a minimum fee for a room, and it's quiet at this hour. There's no one. The waiter reminded them kindly. After all, it was early in the morning, and people usually came to the hotel for breakfast. Breakfast didn't cost much, and they couldn't spend tens of thousands all of a sudden. It wasn't even enough to cover the minimum fee for a room. Chuntian frowned when he heard this. He'd spent so much effort to treat Sun Jingyi to a meal, and he was here to show off, but the waiter's words made him feel like the waiter was looking down on him. What kind of status did he have? He was the grandson of the noble House Wu. Why would he care about the minimum fee? And with his current identity, he was the big boss of Songshan City. He could afford to eat a meal here. What's the minimum fee? Chuntian frowned, impatient. The waiter here was good at reading people's body language, and he knew that Chuntian was getting impatient. He didn't care about the minimum fee. He was rich. But the doorman told him that they came in an Audi A4L. How much was an Audi A4L? Even if they were rich, they might not be able to spend tens of thousands on a meal, right? At that thought, the waiter wasn't sure about Chuntian's spending level. The rooms here were separated into different classes, and if he said too much, he was afraid that Chuntian wouldn't be able to afford it. He'd lose face, and if he said too little, he was afraid that Chuntian would think that he was looking down on him. Chuntian bro is a big boss. His name card is made of gold. Why would he care about the minimum fee? Xiao Xiao spoke up. Today, Chintian Bro's car got smashed, and they paid him 5 million, but he didn't even look at it before giving it to me. You're questioning someone like him for not being able to afford the minimum fee? Chintian looked at Xiao Xiao, thinking, you really know how to fight for me, aren't you? Very good. It seems that this 5 million is not a loss. If you can build up my image in front of Sun Jingyi today, and let me win her heart, then this money will not be wasted. Ah, the waiter paused. So, he drove an Audi A4L here because his car was smashed. What kind of car could be smashed and get 5 million yuan as compensation? No matter what, it should be at the level of Bentley or Rolls-Royce, right? Plus, Chun Tian didn't even care about the compensation, giving it to the people around him. Just how rich was he? Are business cards made of gold? Now that 1 gram of gold had risen to more than 300 yuan. A business card should be at least 2 or 3 grams, right? Then, the cost would be over 1,000 yuan. Is this a business card? If an ordinary person obtained a business card, wouldn't they become rich? It seemed like the people Chun Tian interacted with were all important people, or else people would be fighting over his name card. Rich people, definitely rich people. The waiter thought about this and quickly said, Sir, the most luxurious room here is the Crystal Palace on the top floor. It's currently vacant, but the minimum fee is 500,000. 500,000? The minimum fee was 500,000? Chintian froze. This restaurant sure was shady. He had only brought 10 million with him. After deducting the 1 million used to open Xiao Wangba's company and buy a car, he only had 8 million left. This meal had already cost him 500,000. Wasn't that a little too much? From what Chintian saw, a small rural place like Songshan was a world of difference from Yinjing. Even the most expensive restaurant would only cost 30 to 50,000 at most. How much more expensive could it be? The 8 million he had was enough for him to show off a few times. But now it seemed like the situation was different. The waiter heard Chintian say 500,000 and didn't say anything else, thinking that Chintian thought that 500,000 was too little. She quickly added, Of course, 500,000 for a meal isn't enough to show how noble you are, sir. After all, there are only 4 of you this time. And no matter how expensive the food is, it won't cost too much. Of course, of course. Chintian relaxed when the waiter changed his words. This waiter was quite perceptive, seeing that he thought 500,000 was too much. Perfect. He wouldn't lose face if she said it out loud. She was right. There were only 4 of them, and they couldn't eat that much. No matter how expensive the food was, it wouldn't cost too much. Chintian was feeling proud of himself when he heard the waiter continue. Even if all 4 of you want bird's nest, shark's fin, abalone, and sea cucumber, 500,000 is the most you can ask for. So, I recommend that you get a VIP card here, sir. As long as you deposit 5 million, you can enjoy the treatment of a VIP, and you can reserve the best rooms in the Crystal Palace at any time. There's no minimum spending limit for any room, and you can even enjoy a 20% discount on all the dishes. This is exclusive to VIPs. This VIP card seemed to offer discounts, but it reflected the privileged identity of a VIP. So, in the eyes of the rich, it wasn't that they were looking down on them, but that they had the right to stand out from the masses. Moreover, not everyone could take out 5 million to apply for a meal card. Those who could take out this much money to apply for a card, when they went to the Crystal Palace's private room, who would have the nerve to order those cheap dishes? A meal that cost a few thousand would be too embarrassing to eat in the Crystal Palace. Wah! Chintian was dumbfounded. 5 million? Apply for a VIP card? Are you kidding me? 500,000 was already a lot, and now 5 million? Was this a scam? However, the reason he came out today was to establish his image and show off. If he flinched at the mention of 5 million, then his previous image would have been in vain. So, he could only grit his teeth and bear with it. 5 million is a piece of cake. But I'm usually too busy with business, and I don't have many meals in Songshan. After this 5 million card is completed, I'll probably only use it once. After that, who knows where it'll go? Chintian was trying to say, hurry up and bring us to the room. I don't care about the discount, but I don't want the hassle of eating here even if I get a card. I see. The waiter nodded, not suspecting anything, but she was a little disappointed. After all, she would get a portion of the reward for getting a card. Chapter 1054. Chapter 1052. Waste 5 million insha? Huh. Chuntian's expression was weird. He was a little angry. This Xiao Xiao. Even if she wanted to play along with him, she had to understand the situation first. He clearly didn't have that much money, so why did he need to get a card? That was 5 million. How could he not care? But now, Chuntian felt like he was being forced into a corner. He really had to get this card. Fuck. Since he'd already given her 5 million, he didn't need another 5 million. Phone girl, I've spent a lot of money on you today. You need to build up your image. Whether or not I can get Sun Jingyi is all up to you. Chuntian gritted his teeth. All right, I'll get a card then. All right, sir. Please follow me. The waiter was overjoyed when he heard that Chuntian had changed his mind. He was a little envious of Xiao Xiao. This Chuntian really was a rich landowner. He was so rich. He'd spent 5 million just like that. The VIP card didn't have to be 5 million. The lowest was 1 million. But he wouldn't get a discount. But Chuntian acted like he was rich the moment he walked in. So the waiter recommended him the highest level card. Xiao Xiao, go do it. Chuntian's heart was bleeding. But he had to be a good person to the end. He'd already promised Xiao Xiao, so he could only let her do it. Chuntian regretted it a little. If he'd known this would happen, he would have just nodded and agreed to it. That way, the card would still be his. But now it was Xiao Xiao's after a few words of bullshit. He'd spent 5 million for nothing. He'd spent 10 million in this short amount of time. Did this Xiao Xiao really think he was that rich? But it seemed like his image in her heart was indeed that rich. Otherwise, why would Xiao Xiao worship him so much? Why would she always say nice things about him in front of Sun Jingyi? In fact, if it weren't for Sun Jingyi being there, and Xiao Xiao not being Lin Yi's girlfriend, Chuntian would have dragged her to the hotel and pushed her onto the bed a long time ago, based on how much Xiao Xiao worshipped Chuntian. But now, Chuntian didn't dare. One reason was that Sun Jingyi was here, and he didn't dare do anything that would make Sun Jingyi misunderstand or dislike him. The second reason was that if he pushed Xiao Xiao down, Lin Yi would have even more reason to get close to Sun Jingyi. If he pushed Xiao Xiao to his side and told Sun Jingyi about it, the two of them would be a couple, and Chuntian would be in big trouble. Sun Jingyi smiled coldly at Chuntian's retarded actions. With your standard, you still want to chase after me? Dream on. Sun Jingyi finally understood how powerful Xiao Xiao was. It hadn't been long, and Chuntian had already spent 10 million. Lin Yi knew Xiao Xiao's personality from the start. She was one of those unlucky people who bumped into her. Other than not messing with Lin Yi, she would mess with whoever she didn't like. After getting the card, Xiao Xiao happily came back with the waitress. Chuntian transferred the money again. His heart hurt. Fortunately, Xiao Xiao praised him a few more times, and he was over the moon again. Now that the 5 million card was in Xiao Xiao's hands, she wouldn't spend it recklessly. She wanted it to be a long time. No matter how unlucky she was, she could at least live for a month or two, right? Lunch and dinner were settled for this month or two, and this made Xiao Xiao extremely happy. Naturally, she couldn't spend it all in one day. So Xiao Xiao waved her hand. The Crystal Palace's room is a bit too big for the four of us. It's too spacious. Let's change to a smaller room. Chuntian almost spat out blood after hearing Xiao Xiao's words. They already got the 5 million card. Why didn't they experience the VIP treatment of the Crystal Palace? Why did they have to change to a smaller room? Although the Crystal Palace didn't have a minimum spending limit, it wouldn't look good to only order 10 or 20,000. Xiao Xiao naturally had to be careful with what she got, and so she asked for a smaller room. It didn't matter if she spent less money that way. Chuntian wanted to retort, but he was afraid that Xiao Xiao would be pissed if he did, and she wouldn't play along with him when they ate. He stopped himself and changed his words. All right, let's go to a smaller room then. It'll be quieter and less crowded. Yes, sir. The waiter didn't care. The 5 million yuan card was already made. It didn't matter where the customers wanted to go. Anyway, the 5 million yuan was definitely going to be spent here. As for whether they ate this time or not, it didn't matter. They entered the room, and the waitress took out the menu for Chuntian to order. Jingyi, Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi lil bro, what do you guys want to eat? Chuntian flipped open the menu. his eyes going back and forth between the expensive delicacies. He'd already spent 5 million, and he could only eat it once. Naturally, he wanted more delicious food to enjoy. That was his own money. There were many delicacies that he hadn't tried before, and he wanted to try them all today. Even if he didn't spend all 5 million, he had to spend at least 3 million. Wouldn't that be a huge loss? Xiao Xiao held her card in her hand, getting nervous when she saw Chintian ordering those expensive dishes. She wanted to spend it slowly. She didn't want to spend it all in one day. Lenny looked at Xiao Xiao, finding it funny, but he still said, "We don't want the seafood. Xiao Xiao is allergic to it. She got sick after eating seafood in Yinjing last time." Xiao Xiao heard Lin Yi's words and gave him a thumbs up under the table. Lin Yi's honey was so awesome. She was just thinking about how to get Chintian to order less, and Lin Yi helped. No wonder that Yushu girl liked to stick to Lin Yi so much. Lin Yi's methods were top-notch as well. Chintian paused, his face turning bitter. "I can't eat seafood?" Then, what other expensive dishes are there? In the restaurant, the most expensive dishes were all related to seafood, so of course the seafood wasn't allowed. "It's early in the morning, let's eat something light. Forget about the big fish and meat." Sun Jingyi was a shrewd person. How could she not see what Xiao Xiao was thinking? Since Lin Yi was helping her, Sun Jingyi wouldn't mind helping her screw Chintian over. Sun Jingyi thought that she was on Lin Yi's side. As for Chintian, go play somewhere else. Chapter 1055. Admitting her identity, Sun Jingyi smiled and took the menu, ordering a few dishes that were relatively light. They weren't very cheap, but compared to the delicacies, it was extremely cheap. The dishes added up to less than 8,000. This made Chintian's face change slightly, but these dishes were ordered by Sun Jingyi. What could he say? What could he say? Take a look. Sun Jingyi passed the menu to Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't look at it and passed it to Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao didn't hold back and ordered a few of her favorite dishes, but they weren't very expensive. They were all cheap and delicious. As for the weird dishes, Xiao Xiao naturally didn't order them. After all, it was her own money now. She had to live a long life. "That's all," Xiao Xiao said and passed the menu back to the waiter. Chintian wanted to add a few more, but before he could say anything, Xiao Xiao continued, "Big bro Chintian is a big boss. He's sick of eating those single-headed abalones. There's nothing good here, so why not change to something lighter? Otherwise, ordering too many delicacies will ruin Big Bro Chintian's image." "Wah." Chintian froze and waved his hand with a smile. "That's right. These things are too crappy. It's better to eat something lighter. It's early in the morning, and it's bad for your stomach." The waiter didn't think there was anything wrong with it. The guy had already made a 5 million VIP card. He could eat whatever he wanted. Even if he didn't want to eat, he had to greet him with a smile if he wanted a few free plates. 5 million just like that was enough to show off Chintian's wealth. Who would spend money like this without a few 100 million? The waiter took the menu and left the room. Chintian's heart ached for a while before he remembered today's business. Today, he wanted to invite Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao to prove their relationship in front of Sun Jingyi. If this was done, then his 10 million wouldn't be wasted. "Old bro Lin Yi, this is the first time Xiao Xiao has met Jingyi, right? As the host, let me introduce them to you." With that, Chintian stood up with a smile and introduced her to Sun Jingyi. "Jingyi, this is Lin Yi's girlfriend, Feng Xiao Xiao. We met at the auction in Yinjing, and we got along quite well." "Hello, Xiao Xiao. You don't mind me calling you that, do you?" Sun Jingyi smiled as she extended her hand to Xiao Xiao. This was their first official meeting. "If you don't mind, I'll call you Big Sis Jingyi." Xiao Xiao had found out about Sun Jingyi's identity from Lin Yi, and she didn't rule her out either. As long as they weren't here to cause trouble between her and Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao would accept them easily. "Hee, then I'll call you Little Sister Xiao Xiao." Sun Jingyi smiled and nodded. "Xiao Xiao, this is Sun Jingyi. She's... Jingyi, how should I introduce you to Lin Yi?" Chintian looked at Sun Jingyi with a troubled expression, giving this difficult problem to Sun Jingyi. Chintian was a little arrogant, but he wasn't stupid. At least he knew that letting Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi come to eat with Sun Jingyi and expose the relationship between Sun Jingyi and Lin Yi was a strategy. At this time, putting out the relationship between Sun Jingyi and Lin Yi and letting Sun Jingyi explain herself was also a strategy. This also meant that Chen Tian still had some tricks up his sleeves. It was just that Chen Tian was usually arrogant and liked to act cool, which was why he suffered so many losses in front of Xiao Xiao. Speaking of which, Xiao Xiao had the title of Little Witch in school. How many people hadn't been taken advantage of by her? Hee hee, I'm Lin Yi's lover. Sun Jingyi smiled and nodded at Xiao Xiao. Wah! Chen Tian's eyes widened. He never would have thought that Sun Jingyi would say that she was Lin Yi's lover in front of Xiao Xiao. Wasn't this just asking for trouble? Would Xiao Xiao be willing? Would she be able to continue eating? Chen Tian didn't know what Sun Jingyi was thinking. She still dared to say that she was Lin Yi's lover in a situation like this? Before, Chen Tian thought that Lin Yi was two-timing, and Sun Jingyi didn't know about Lin Yi's ugly side. So, he wanted Xiao Xiao and Sun Jingyi to meet. And when Sun Jingyi saw that Lin Yi had a new lover, she definitely chased Lin Yi away in anger. But things developed out of Chen Tian's expectations. When Sun Jingyi saw Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao holding hands in front of her, Sun Jingyi didn't seem to care at all. Of course, Chen Tian didn't think that this would happen. As far as he was concerned, this meant that Sun Jingyi had nothing to do with Lin Yi, and the so-called relationship with Lin Yi was just a facade. Lin Yi was just someone she'd grabbed. And so, Chen Tian was very happy. Now, Sun Jingyi wouldn't have an excuse to reject him anymore. But now, something unexpected happened. Sun Jingyi said that she was Lin Yi's lover. What was going on? I've heard a lot about you. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, extended her hand to Jingyi with a serious face. I'll be counting on you, Jingyi sis. You guys. Chen Tian rubbed his eyes. He thought he was dreaming. Why wasn't Xiao Xiao angry? Why was she acting so friendly with Sun Jingyi? What was the meaning of this? What about us? Chen Tian bro? Xiao Xiao pretended like she didn't know anything and smiled at Chen Tian. You. How could you let your boyfriend find a lover? Chen Tian was flabbergasted as he asked. Oh, what's wrong with finding a lover? If he didn't find a lover, would I be his girlfriend? I'm just Lin Yi's second wife, not the main wife. Even the main wife doesn't object to him finding a second wife. Why would I object? Xiao Xiao explained. Huh. Chen Tian was even more shocked. This Xiao Xiao wasn't Lin Yi's main wife. She was also Lin Yi's second wife. But, as shocked as Chen Tian was, Sun Jingyi was even more shocked. She said that she was Lin Yi's lover, but it was just an agreement with Lin Yi. She was Lin Yi's lover in name, not in reality. Sun Jingyi liked Lin Yi, but before she made up her mind, she wouldn't go any further with Lin Yi. Chapter 1056. So depressing from Sun Jingyi's point of view, it was normal for a man to have multiple wives in a noble house. After all, the men from noble houses were very capable, so it wasn't strange at all. But in the common world, it was a little strange. Walim people had their own rules, and the common world had its own rules. Every level was different. Sun Jingyi couldn't imagine that Lin Yi had multiple wives at such a young age, and from Xiao Xiao's reaction, it could be seen that her relationship with the first wife was very good, and she didn't object to Lin Yi finding another lover. There were only two possibilities that could cause such a situation. One was that these women were idiots, they couldn't find a boyfriend, so they were willing to share a man. But the possibility of this was zero. How outstanding was Xiao Xiao? It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that a girl as beautiful as her was one in a million. Looking at Xiao Xiao, the first wife couldn't be any worse. Why would a girl like her need to share a man with someone else? The second possibility was that Lin Yi was too outstanding, and these outstanding girls were willing to sacrifice themselves for him. This was the situation in noble houses. But until now, Sun Jingyi didn't think that Lin Yi was outstanding in any way. Was being a bandit a promising career? Jingyi frowned inwardly. She was getting more and more curious about this man. This man seemed to have a lot of secrets on him. Jingyi, you're from a noble house too. How can you be someone else's lover? Chen Tian's heart was bleeding. He was furious. Sun Jingyi was willing to be a lover for a little tramp, rather than marry him legally? Why? Why? Was he that weak? On the surface, however, he still had to put on the airs of a big brother as he lectured Jingyi. Lil bro Lin Yi is a great man, but having too many wives is just a waste of a family's harmony. And Jingyi, think about it, If you were to be someone else's lover and Grandpa's son found out, wouldn't he be furious? Really? Couldn't they be lovers? I remember that Grandpa Wu seems to have several wives, right? Sun Jingyi said disapprovingly. Ugh. Chen Tian paused, his face bitter. Isn't this a different situation? Our Wu family is also an aristocratic family, and aristocratic families are not restricted by the rules of the secular world. Naturally, we can find a few more wives. And the most important thing is that my grandpa is very strong. Those wives don't dare to plot against each other. They are very respectful in front of my grandma. Oh, I'm also from an aristocratic family, so I'm not restricted, Sun Jingyi said lightly. Chen Tian's face turned ugly. He didn't think that Sun Jingyi would be this stubborn. He told her that Lin Yi was just a normal person, and he couldn't play with so many wives. They'd definitely fight. But in front of Lin Yi, he couldn't say that Lin Yi was useless. If he said that, he'd offend Lin Yi, and when Lin Yi left with Xiao Xiao, wouldn't it be awkward? And if Sun Jingyi left with Lin Yi, it'd be even worse. At that moment, the waiter came in with the dishes. Chen Tian could only shut his mouth and think of a solution, depressed. What was he supposed to do to turn Jingyi's mind around? Damn it, this Xiao Xiao wasn't jealous at all, and Sun Jingyi was even crazier. She wanted to be Lin Yi's lover. What was so good about this Lin Yi? Chen Tian couldn't see any good points about Lin Yi, no matter how he looked at him. If it weren't for Sun Jingyi, Chen Tian really wanted to slap Lin Yi to death, so that he wouldn't get angry in front of him. The dishes were served, and Xiao Xiao didn't care anymore. She ate to her heart's content, sweeping everything on the table clean. She didn't care what other people thought of her. She didn't have long to live, and as long as Lin Yi didn't dislike her, she'd be fine. But Lin Yi was here to eat with Xiao Xiao, and the main goal was to eat. Not only did Lin Yi take the initiative to put food in Xiao Xiao's bowl, but he also told her to eat more. And so, Xiao Xiao ate happily. Sun Jingyi didn't eat much, and she was full after eating a little. Chen Tian, on the other hand, didn't eat at all. He was feeling depressed. How could he eat? The situation was far from what he expected. As for asking Xiao Xiao to help him act cool, Chen Tian temporarily gave up on that idea. Jingyi's heart wasn't on him at all, so there was no point in acting cool. What should he do? Chen Tian furrowed his brows. The most important thing right now was Xiao Xiao's attitude. If she strongly rejected Sun Jingyi, or urged Lin Yi to draw a line with Sun Jingyi, then he could still do something. Otherwise, he had no hope at all. The other method was to call Sun Jingyi's family and tell them that Sun Jingyi was someone else's mistress, but this was a method he couldn't use unless he had no other choice. If Sun Jingyi knew the truth, she'd hate Chen Tian even more. Tattling behind someone's back was a taboo. Some people were happy, while others were sad. Xiao Xiao ate happily, and Chen Tian was depressed. Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi were watching him make a fool of himself. Chen Tian had prepared a few tricks to act cool before he came, but he didn't use any of them. He didn't have the mood to use them now. Even with Xiao Xiao's cooperation, there was no point in showing it off. Sun Jingyi's heart wasn't on him. The meal ended in a hurry, and Chen Tian got himself a taxi and left. Jingyi, on the other hand, drove Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi back to school. Once in the car, Sun Jingyi couldn't help but laugh. She gave Xiao Xiao a thumbs up. Lil sis Xiao Xiao, you sure know how to trick people. Chen Tian lost 10 million in one morning. Hehehe. Xiao Xiao smiled, pleased with herself. She was quite confident when it came to scamming people, but a fool like Chen Tian was a rare sight to see. Chapter 1057. More and more curious, sure. Xiao Xiao easily agreed to Sun Jingyi's invitation and sat in the front seat of the Audi A4L. Lin Yi didn't mind, since he could guess Sun Jingyi's goal. Xiao Xiao herself wasn't that familiar to Lin Yi, so Lin Yi wasn't worried that she'd let anything slip. After getting in the car, Sun Jingyi asked, "Where are you guys going? Back to where you were before?" "Yeah, back to Songshan's first school." Xiao Xiao nodded. "Oh, okay. Where do you guys live?" Sun Jingyi asked. "We go to school there." Xiao Xiao blurted out, but regretted it immediately. Xiao Xiao wasn't stupid. She knew that she'd fallen into Sun Jingyi's trap. Sun Jingyi was testing her and Lin Yi's identity. From the current situation, it seemed like Sun Jingyi didn't know that Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao were studying at Songshan's first school. Xiao Xiao turned to look at Lin Yi, a little worried. Seeing that Lin Yi didn't show anything special, he was still resting in the back seat with his eyes closed. Only then did she let out a sigh of relief. In fact, the reason why Lin Yi hid his identity was because he was afraid that Sun Jingyi would keep bothering him if she found out where he went to school. That half-lover's promise was a bit of a tie. If Sun Jingyi came to Lin Yi for trouble in the future, would Lin Yi be able to do anything else? Therefore, Lin Yi didn't tell Sun Jingyi that he was a student of First Senior High School. He only told Sun Jingyi to wait for him near First Senior High School. However, during this period of time, Sun Jingyi didn't bother Lin Yi again. So it seemed that Sun Jingyi wasn't the kind of person who would trouble Lin Yi for anything. So, Lin Yi didn't mind telling Sun Jingyi his identity. You were studying in First High School? Are you all high school students? Sun Jingyi was taken aback. She previously thought that Lin Yi should be younger than her, but that was also her age after she dressed up. In her opinion, Lin Yi should be about the same age as her actual age, around 20 years old. She never thought that Lin Yi was only a high school student. Wasn't the disparity too great? Lin Yi was actually a student? How was this possible? Wasn't he a great bandit? Yes, a high school student. Seeing that Lin Yi didn't have any special expression, Xiao Xiao told Sun Jingyi the truth. Oh my God. Sun Jingyi confirmed this information and was a little embarrassed. She was already 20 years old. How could she have feelings for a guy younger than her? Then why are you Lin Yi's small wife? He has a big wife? Sun Jingyi quickly changed the topic. Yes, he has a big wife, and I'm his small wife. Xiao Xiao nodded quickly. Aren't you Lin Yi's lover too? This lover is only half. It's just a name. Sun Jingyi explained. It's just because Wu Qintian is too clingy. I used Lin Yi as a shield. Oh, I see. Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed. I thought I could play 3P with you. Xiao Xiao had gotten bolder after spending more time with Yushu. She was actually quite curious about the 3 batches. After all, she didn't have much time left. She wanted to try anything new. She could tell that Tang Yun was a more traditional and conservative girl. She wouldn't play 3P with her in such a short amount of time. Even if she was alone with Lin Yi, Tang Yun probably wasn't ready yet. As for Yushu, Lin Yi clearly didn't have that kind of feelings for her yet. How could Xiao Xiao not see that? If Lin Yi had that kind of feelings, Mengyao and Yushu would have been pushed down by Lin Yi a long time ago. After all, they lived in the same villa and interacted with each other every day. And so Xiao Xiao turned her attention to Sun Jingyi. Xiao Xiao was actually quite conservative, but the current situation didn't allow her to be conservative anymore. As far as she was concerned, since she had already decided on Lin Yi, it didn't matter what she did with him. She wouldn't be able to do anything with other men in this lifetime anyway, so she decided to be bold. Wah! Sun Jingyi almost drove the car into the pavement after hearing Xiao Xiao's shocking words. She subconsciously stepped on the brakes. Lin Yi, on the other hand, frowned bitterly. Xiao Xiao and Yushu were becoming more and more alike. He really didn't know if getting them together was a blessing or a curse. But the good thing was that Xiao Xiao didn't have much longer to live. But, at the thought, Lin Yi's heart tightened. Was it really good? Lin Yi really didn't want Xiao Xiao to leave. Even if she did it with Yushu, Lin Yi didn't want to lose her. It had only been 2 days, and Xiao Xiao's position in Lin Yi's heart was getting more and more important. Especially when he heard that Xiao Xiao had woken up in the middle of the night to make him pastries. Especially this morning, Lin Yi was extremely touched. And so, Lin Yi really wanted Xiao Xiao to live. Lin Yi sighed softly, starting to worry. Haha, I'm just joking. Xiao Xiao quickly shut up after seeing that Sun Jingyi was scared by her words. Haha, it's nothing, it's pretty fun. Sun Jingyi wiped the sweat off her forehead. 3 batches. What a shocking idea. Sun Jingyi came from a noble house, but she was actually quite conservative. Her grandfather and uncles had multiple women, but they didn't say 3 batches at the same time. But at the end of the day, it was still because women didn't get along with each other on the surface, and no one would really try to get close to another person. It was just that in noble houses, the men were more dominant. And so, Sun Jingyi grew up in an environment like this, and she didn't really mind men having multiple wives. This was also why she wanted to be someone else's mistress. But That man had to be someone Sun Jingyi liked. Someone as mediocre as Iron Fist Wu. Sun Jingyi would be depressed for the rest of her life if she married him. Lin Yi. Sun Jingyi glanced at the resting Lin Yi in the rearview mirror, and her curiosity towards Lin Yi grew even stronger. Just what did Lin Yi do to make Xiao Xiao fall in love with him like this? Sun Jingyi could feel that Xiao Xiao really didn't have any hostility towards her at all. In fact, she had the intention to accept her. This situation made Sun Jingyi very confused. Even the concubines of the past emperors were all scheming against each other, let alone the women of noble houses. She had never heard of any of them getting along with each other. But Lin Yi did it. Lin Yi, just what kind of unknown ability did he have? Chapter 1058. Chapter 1056. Not much time, Jingyi sis. Let's keep in touch. I quite like you, Xiao Xiao said seriously. It seemed like she still hadn't forgotten about the 3 batches plan. She wanted to put it into practice before she died. Okay. Sun Jingyi smiled faintly. She didn't mind keeping in touch with Xiao Xiao, but she wanted to know more about Lin Yi. Sun Jingyi felt like she'd underestimated Lin Yi. This guy wasn't as simple as he looked. You should consider my suggestion. I don't have much time left, Xiao Xiao said anxiously. You don't have much time left? Sun Jingyi paused. Lin Yi, who was sitting in the back seat, opened his eyes abruptly. Yeah. I'm a 12th grader already. Maybe I'll go to university somewhere else, and I won't be able to see you so often. Xiao Xiao realized that she'd let the cat out of the bag, but she was smart enough to change the topic. Oh, university, haha, but I'm afraid I can't accept your suggestion for now. Jingyi shrugged apologetically. She was a natural and poised person, and wouldn't be too shy even when the topic was brought up. If Lin Yi could really move Sun Jingyi's heart, then Sun Jingyi might be able to accept Xiao Xiao's suggestion, but now wasn't the time. Lin Yi closed his eyes again. He knew that Xiao Xiao had let the cat out of the bag, but he'd recovered in time. People who didn't know the truth might get tricked by her. Lin Yi sighed softly. Xiao Xiao's suggestion had moved Lin Yi, but Lin Yi couldn't help her fulfill her wish. If Xiao Xiao could keep living, perhaps there would be such a day, but in terms of time, there wasn't enough time at all. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was a principled man. He wouldn't force her to do anything. His occupation made it so that he couldn't think with the lower half of his body. This time, the car didn't stop at the snack street behind the school, but directly at the entrance of the first high school. Goodbye, Jingyi sis. Remember to text me. Xiao Xiao and Sun Jingyi had established a relationship very easily, and she was saying goodbye reluctantly. Lin Yi realized that if Xiao Xiao wanted to make friends, it would be very easy. Her personality had always been lively, and she could easily get other people's approval. All right. Sun Jingyi nodded and looked at Lin Yi worried. Wu Qintian won't let this go easily. I'm afraid he'll cause you trouble. Oh, whatever. I'm not afraid of him. Lin Yi shrugged indifferently. Don't underestimate him. Qintian may look dumb, but he's still from a noble house. You know the power of noble houses. Right. He said that you guys met at the auction in Yinjing? Sun Jingyi wanted to tell Lin Yi about the power of noble houses, but she remembered that Qintian said that he met Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao at the auction in Yinjing. Sun Jingyi found it strange at that time. Wasn't the auction in Yinjing the one house you held? Sun Jingyi was from House Sun, and naturally, she knew about the auction. Although she didn't attend, she knew that the people who attended the auction were either rich or powerful. Other than noble houses, the people who could attend the auction were all people with power and background. But Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao, how could they attend the auction? Sun Jingyi was curious and wanted to ask, but Qintian was there, so she couldn't. Now that she thought about it, she was confused. I went with a friend. Lin Yi smiled and said faintly. Lin Yi didn't tell Sun Jingyi too much about his company. After all, their relationship hadn't reached that level yet. To put it bluntly, the feeling that Sun Jingyi gave Lin Yi at first was only slightly more familiar than a passerby. She wasn't even as familiar as Wang Xinyan. Lin Yi felt that his relationship with Wang Xinyan was closer. After all, she was the first girl Lin Yi met after coming to Songshan. She was kind, and Lin Yi liked her more than Sun Jingyi. At least that was the case now. Wang Xinyan and Lin Yi didn't have any benefits involved. It was a one-sided relationship. Just like when Wang Xinyan reminded Lin Yi that there was a scammer on the train, she didn't expect anything from Lin Yi. But Sun Jingyi was different. When Sun Jingyi first met Lin Yi, her goal was clear. She wanted Lin Yi to pretend to be her boyfriend and chase Chen Tian away. What happened after that was the same. She hired Lin Yi to steal her competitor's recording, but in exchange, she became Lin Yi's half-lover. Lin Yi always kept a respectful distance from women like Sun Jingyi who liked to play tricks. Although Sun Jingyi was pretty, Lin Yi didn't want to put himself in danger while admiring her beauty. But after today's interaction, Lin Yi's impression of Sun Jingyi changed a little. Sun Jingyi wasn't the clingy type of girl he'd imagined her to be. Thinking back to the things she'd asked for help with, they were all things she couldn't handle no matter how hard she tried. She'd only come to him because she had no other choice, and she hadn't called to bother him for a while after that. This made him feel that Sun Jingyi wasn't a bad person. She might have been using him at first, but she didn't treat him like an idiot and keep demanding things from him. I see. Sun Jingyi saw that Xiao Xiao had gotten off the car, and she lowered her voice with a smile. I thought you wanted to steal something from the auction, huh? Lin Yi shrugged. I'm not a great thief, I'm just a guest. What do you do for a living? Student? Sun Jingyi asked. You really want to know? Lin Yi asked. Yeah. Sun Jingyi nodded. Murder and arson. Lin Yi said faintly. Sun Jingyi blinked, but then frowned. Fine, I won't tell you. You're lying again. Isn't murder and arson the same as being a great thief? Haha. Lin Yi didn't explain anything. So you don't have to worry about Wu Qintian doing anything to me. If he pisses me off, I'll go to his house and kill and burn. Sun Jingyi was speechless. She didn't know what to say after seeing Lin Yi's nonchalant face. Then be careful. Lin Yi nodded and got off the car, quickly catching up to Xiao Xiao. Chapter 1059. Chapter 1057. Lin Yi's strength. Sun Jingyi was talking to me, telling me to be careful of Wu Qintian, Lin Yi said. Oh, will you be careful then? Xiao Xiao asked. I think he should be careful of you, Lin Yi smiled. Haha. Xiao Xiao was a little happy. I think so too. But that's Xie Yufeng. You should be careful. When I'm not around, you and Shu shouldn't mess with him alone, Lin Yi said. Oh? What's wrong with Xie Yufeng? What's so great about him? What can he do to us? Xiao Xiao didn't understand. Xie Yufeng is a practitioner, a mystic early phase peak. Lin Yi didn't hide this from Xiao Xiao. With Xiao Xiao's family background, she definitely knew the difference in strength. Xiao Xiao was shocked by Lin Yi's words. A mystic early phase peak? Really? Really? Lin Yi nodded. No way. A mystic early phase peak is this useless? Beaten black and blue by a few hooligans? Sitting on a nail shoe? Did you get beaten up by Iron Fist Wu today? Xiao Xiao didn't believe it. She found it hard to believe. He is indeed a mystic early phase peak. Lin Yi nodded seriously, but for some reason, he's been hiding his strength in front of me. Oh? Xiao Xiao frowned after hearing Lin Yi's words, thinking about it. If it was as Lin Yi said, then Xie Yufeng did seem to be hiding his strength. Whether it was that day in the karaoke bar or this morning, Yufeng seemed to have the confidence to teach the opponent a lesson, but then he suddenly gave in. Xiao Xiao was confused before, but she didn't think about it. Now that she thought about it, it was indeed strange. Only Lin Yi's explanation could explain it. In front of Lin Yi, Xie Yufeng was purposely acting like he had no strength. Then what does he mean by doing this? Is he targeting you? Xiao Xiao wasn't stupid, she knew what was at stake here. There had to be a reason why Yufeng was doing this, and it was most likely because of Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao's heart tightened at the thought. She didn't know when it started, but she started treating Lin Yi as her boyfriend, someone she cared about. He wasn't a so-called love experiment or target of revenge anymore. It was a gradual change, and even Xiao Xiao herself wasn't aware of it. A person's thoughts were the hardest to fathom. In many cases, love and hate happened in an instant. It was possible for hate to give birth to love, and it was also possible for love to give birth to hate. Xiao Xiao's current situation was one of love born from hate. Maybe he's just a peak early mystic class master. Lin Yi shrugged and said nonchalantly, Oh. Xiao Xiao's eyes lit up at Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi appearing at the auction meant that Lin Yi must have some understanding of the noble houses. It was normal for him to know about the ranking system in the martial arts world, so Xiao Xiao didn't think there was anything wrong with it. But Lin Yi was looking down on Xie Yufeng, and that meant something. If Lin Yi knew what a peak early mystic class master meant, and he was looking down on him like that, then how strong was Lin Yi? Could it be that Lin Yi was a practitioner as well? Someone from the martial arts world? Xiao Xiao couldn't believe it. Because of her father's job, Xiao Xiao naturally knew more than others. But she also knew how rare martial arts people were in the common world. Golden class masters were easier to deal with. After all, some rich people had masters like that around them. Many practitioners stagnated after reaching the golden class. They didn't have a higher goal in their cultivation, so they would naturally pursue the pleasures of money. It wasn't uncommon for them to become the lackeys and thugs of the rich, but there weren't that many mystic class practitioners. Normally, if a mystic class practitioner had the slightest chance of advancing, they wouldn't become the bodyguards of the rich. But there were no absolutes in this world. Although mystic class practitioners were rare, there were still a few of them. But Lin Yi, a high schooler, was looking down on a peak early mystic class. Then he himself. Xiao Xiao only knew that Lin Yi was strong, but she didn't know that Lin Yi was this strong. This meant that Lin Yi might really be stronger than Xie Yufeng. Lin Yi, honey. You. Xiao Xiao's eyes were wide open as she looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. You're not stronger than Xie Yufeng, are you? Lin Yi nodded. Since he'd accepted Xiao Xiao, there were some things he wouldn't hide from her. Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yu Shu all knew about his strength. Plus, Xiao Xiao's father, Tianlong, was his former comrade. There was no reason for Lin Yi to hide anything. I'm just a little stronger than Xie Yufeng. Lin Yi smiled. Wow. Xiao Xiao heard Lin Yi's confirmation and couldn't help but cry out. Xiao Xiao, you're too awesome. Your random boyfriend is actually a mystic class master. Waha, I've hit the jackpot. Lin Yi was speechless as he looked at Xiao Xiao's excited face. He didn't know what she was so happy about. What was the point of being a mystic class? It couldn't cure her illness. Ha ha ha. Doesn't that mean you're stronger than most of the masters from noble houses? Xiao Xiao circled around Lin Yi, her eyes roaming around Lin Yi's body, as if trying to see if there was anything unusual about him. No wonder you could join the auction. You're a master too. Not back then. I was just golden class late phase. Lin Yi said. But I can usually deal with masters stronger than me. Thinking back to the last time he leveled up, it was all thanks to Xiao Xiao. He might have touched the wall of mystic, but if it wasn't for Xiao Xiao, he wouldn't have become a mystic so easily. Oh? Xiao Xiao blinked at Lin Yi's words. But Lin Yi said that to reassure Xiao Xiao. After all, she didn't have much time left, and Lin Yi didn't want her to worry every day. Haha, so don't think too much. Whether it's Wu Chuntian or Xie Yufeng, there's no problem. Not just Wu Chuntian, even if his grandfather came, I wouldn't be afraid. Lin Yi smiled. Chapter 1060. Old you trick. Xiao Xiao didn't think much of it at the time. But now that she thought about it, could it be that Lin Yi did it to protect her? Xiao Xiao's heart warmed at the thought, and she was incredibly touched. Her relationship with Lin Yi wasn't that good back then, was it? Was he willing to take the risk for her? If Lin Yi was still a golden class late phase then, he wouldn't be a match for Gong Yao at all. Lin Yi doing something like this was enough to show how much Lin Yi cared about her. Xiao Xiao's heart was moved, and she didn't care that they were in front of the school. She hugged Lin Yi and started sobbing. Xiao Xiao's crying scared Lin Yi out of his wits. What was going on? She was fine a moment ago. Why was she crying all of a sudden? Xiao Xiao couldn't have been possessed by that crybaby fatty lie, could she? Xiao Xiao, what's wrong? Lin Yi was a little scared and a little embarrassed. After all, they were in front of the school, and a little girl was crying while hugging him. It wasn't a big deal to those who knew, since Xiao Xiao was his girlfriend. But what about those who didn't know? Wah, Lin Yi honey, you're so good to me. Xiao Xiao said as she cried. Huh. Lin Yi froze. How was he being good to Xiao Xiao? You were in Yinjing, at the auction. You knew how strong that old man Gong Gao was, but you still stood in front of me. Xiao Xiao explained after seeing Lin Yi's confusion. Ugh. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry at the words. This thing you're talking about. What? I'm so touched. No one's been this nice to me since I was young. Xiao Xiao was telling the truth. Tianlong couldn't be by Xiao Xiao's side because of work, so Lin Yi was the person who treated Xiao Xiao the best. Then don't cry. This is the school gate. It's not good if other people see. Although Lin Yi didn't really care about other people's opinions, this was still not a good thing. So Lin Yi reminded Xiao Xiao, I don't care. I just want to hug you and cry. Let me be touched. Xiao Xiao started acting coquettishly. Lin Yi didn't know what to do, so he let Xiao Xiao hug him. But after a while, Lin Yi couldn't take it anymore. All right, Xiao Xiao, let's go back to school? No. I want to keep hugging you. Xiao Xiao loved the feeling of leaning on Lin Yi's arms. She didn't want to lose this feeling. If you don't listen to me, then I won't be nice to you anymore. Lin Yi couldn't do anything but scare Xiao Xiao. Oh, okay. This worked, and Xiao Xiao let go of Lin Yi unwillingly. The tears on her face had dried up long ago, and she just wanted to stay in Lin Yi's arms. Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi went back to the classroom. It was a smooth process. The Miss and Yushu knew about Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao's relationship, so they turned a blind eye to it. But Xie Yufeng, on the other hand, looked at Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao with a venomous glare. It was because of Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi that he lost 5 million. Yufeng had to get his revenge for this. Yuren was a small owner of a grocery store, running a small business. His family's financial situation was very tight, and because he didn't have much money in his hands, he didn't expand his business. The money he made every day was just enough for his family to live on. However, Yuren didn't want his family to be poor forever. He wanted to change, so when he earned a lot of money, he would buy a few lottery tickets to entertain himself. Yuren's dream was to hit the 5 million jackpot one day. That way, his family's life would get better. Old you, what are you thinking about? A butcher came over when it was almost time to get off work. Nothing. I'm packing up and going home, Yuren said as he packed up. Are you free tonight? I'll bring you to see something exciting, the butcher said. Oh, what kind of exciting thing? Yuren paused, not knowing what the butcher was talking about. He shook his head. It's that kind of erotic show, right? I'm not going. My wife's really strong. If she finds out, I'll be in trouble. Heh, you really are a coward. The butcher shook his head in disdain. What erotic show? It's a boxing show. Do you know about underground boxing? It's very exciting. Boxing show? Yuren heard that it wasn't an erotic show, so he didn't reject immediately. Is the ticket expensive? It's free. The butcher laughed. My nephew has a friend in the underworld. He gave him a few tickets and I got 2. Let's go, we'll go see. With that, the butcher put his oily hand on Yuren's shoulder and pulled him away. The butcher was actually here to scam Yuren. He had a bad heart. He took 500 from his nephew just to trick Yuren into watching an underground boxing match. Otherwise, he wouldn't have thought of Yuren for such a good thing. It's free? There's such a good thing? Yuren didn't believe it. Even if there's such a good thing, why would you think of me? Yuren wasn't an idiot. He knew that this butcher was just a normal relationship with him, and he didn't look for anyone else but him. Yuren was confused. Hey, didn't you look after my stall for half a day a few days ago? You even helped me sell some meat. So naturally, I thought of Yuren bro first when there's a good thing. The butcher smiled. Is that so? Yuren heard the butcher's words and believed him a little, but he still asked, You really don't need money? I don't have a penny. My daughter, Yuan, took all my money home. You don't need money. The butcher smiled. Let's go. Just come with me. Yuren was relieved after hearing the butcher's words and went to watch the match with the butcher. At first, Yuren wasn't very confident, but when he entered the arena with the butcher and sat in the audience, Yuren finally understood that he didn't need to spend a cent to watch the match. Now that he didn't have to worry anymore, Yuren started talking to the butcher. This boxing match, who organized it? Is it good? Chapter 1061. The fisherman takes the bait. It's that scary? Yuren jumped in fright after hearing the meat seller's words. Heh, there's nothing scary about it. It's exciting. The butcher waved his hand and smiled. It won't reach the audience, will it? That's pretty scary. Maybe we shouldn't watch. Yuren was a coward, It didn't matter to him if others fought or not, but he didn't want to drag himself into it. This was the tragedy of the people at the bottom of the society. All they thought about was when they'd be able to eat and wear warm clothes, and what happened to others had nothing to do with them. Old man Yuren was this kind of person. Look at your cowardly face. How could they fight in the audience seats? I've been here a few times already. You can watch later. The butcher smiled. At this moment, a young man sitting beside Yuren spoke up as well. This was someone Little Scorpion had arranged. His status was similar to the butcher. Not only is it exciting, but you can also make a fortune. Look at me. I didn't even have a cent, but after watching a few matches, I'm a millionaire now. The young man said proudly. What? You became a millionaire without a cent? How is that possible? Yuren paused. He wasn't interested in the underground fights, but after hearing the young man say that he became a millionaire from penniless, he was interested. Yuren wanted to win the 5 million lottery even in his dreams, so he was very interested in these kinds of things. Heh, what's impossible? The young man looked at Yuren with disdain. Do you know what gambling is? Gambling? Yuren paused. You've never played before, right? I've played this before too. The meat seller laughed and told Yuren the rules of the bet. Yuren understood, but he was still scared. If I lose, wouldn't I get nothing? Hey, isn't this just gambling? If you buy a lottery ticket and don't win, wouldn't you get nothing? The young man said with disdain. A country bumpkin like you shouldn't have any money. I'll show you. Yuren didn't say anything, but he was moved. Going from penniless to a millionaire was a legend. With that in mind, Yuren paid close attention to the young man and the meat seller's actions. Before the match started, someone had already started collecting bets on a tablet computer. The young man directly bet 100,000 on someone called Red Dragon to win, and the butcher had bet 10,000 on Red Dragon. Yuren looked at how confident they were and couldn't help but be tempted. He asked, Can I bet 10 yuan? Poochie. Hearing Yuren's words, the young man burst into laughter, his eyes wide open. I say, Old man, the lowest bet here is 10,000. You only have 10. Who's going to bet for you? Ah, I see. Yuren blushed, but he was also shocked. 10,000, that was half a year's worth of income, and he was taking it out to bet? Wasn't there something wrong with that? What he didn't understand was why the butcher and the young man were betting so confidently. Could it be that the red dragon they were betting on was the ever-victorious general? Heh, I say, old you, listen to me. Hurry up and bet, or you'll regret it later. The butcher looked at Yuren and reminded him. That red dragon, is he strong? Yuren couldn't help but ask. That's pretty strong. The butcher curled his lips. 3 matches yesterday. He won every single one. He didn't even give his opponent a chance to breathe. I'm regretting it yesterday. That's why I bet 10,000 on the last match. If I had bet before, I'd be a millionaire right now. Is that so? Yuren was tempted, but he was still worried. 9 out of 10 bets are cheating. If that's the case, wouldn't the owner of this arena lose his money? I don't know about that. This kind of thing isn't done behind the scenes. It's a real fight. If you don't fight to the death, there's no way to tell who's the winner. So, even if you want to fake it, there's no way, right? The butcher said. Oh. Yuren was tempted, but he was still very cautious. He wanted to wait and see. The result made Yuren a little depressed, but at the same time, he was looking forward to it. There was no doubt that the red dragon won. In just a few moves, he had defeated his opponent on the stage. Moreover, the young man and the butcher weren't wrong. They were indeed fighting for real, because the red dragon's opponent's head had already been blown off by the red dragon. This kind of bloody scene scared Yuren, but he didn't sympathize with the people who were killed. As far as he was concerned, since he came to fight in the underground arena, he should have expected this kind of ending. These people died. What did it have to do with him? What made Yuren depressed was that he didn't listen to the young man and the butcher's suggestion and bet. If he had bet 10,000 on the red dragon, wouldn't he have 20,000 now? The young man's 500,000 turned into 1 million, and the butcher's 10,000 turned into 20,000. Yuren was really envious. Such a good chance to get rich, and he missed it. If he had bet 10,000, he would have earned 10,000, and that would have been half a year's worth of income. But at the thought, Yuren was even more depressed. He couldn't help but blame himself. Yuren, why couldn't you be more daring? If you had bet 500,000, wouldn't you have 1,000,000? But Yuren's depression deepened at the thought. He could barely take out 10,000, but if he were to take out 500,000, wouldn't that be a fantasy? He'd have to sell his house. But his house was rented. It wasn't even his. The new round of bets began, and it was still the Red Dragon against another unknown fighter, Ares. Yuren wanted to bet as well, but he didn't have a single cent with him. How could he? The young man used bank transfer, and the butcher used cash, but Yuren didn't have any cash with him, and he didn't have the phone transfer function. Even if he wanted to bet, he couldn't. He regretted it. Even if he only brought 10,000, it would have been fine. Why didn't he have a single cent? Chapter 1062. Chapter 1060. The last gamble. I'm borrowing money from the arena. This place offers high-interest loans. The young man said impatiently, You can ask later. I'm busy betting right now. I'll tell you after I'm done. You didn't ask before, but now that you're asking, can't you see I'm busy? Wait, bro. It'll be too late. How could Yuren wait until he was done? Then it'd be too late. He wanted to bet now. You can borrow money from the casino. 500,000 at most. Just sign an agreement and it'll be fine. The young man waved his hand impatiently. He was doing it on purpose. If he was too enthusiastic, it'd raise Yuren's suspicions. As expected, the more he acted like this, the more anxious Yuren was. He didn't care anymore. He'd wait for the person to come and ask for the loan. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. As long as he bet, he'd be able to make money. Yuren didn't want to miss this chance. However, the loan wasn't something that could be done in one go. The person who placed the bet took out his walkie-talkie and called the professional in the arena, asking him to handle the loan for Yuren. The person who placed the bet continued to collect the bets from the others. What made Yuren regretful was that although the loan was done, the second match had already begun. They weren't accepting bets anymore, which meant that he could only place his bet on the last match. He regretted not borrowing money earlier. He'd lost a chance to make a fortune. Why was Yuren so sure that he'd make a fortune this time? The reason was simple. The match had only been going on for 5 minutes, and it was already a one-sided situation. Red Dragon was beating Bai Yang up, and Bai Yang didn't even have the strength to fight back. It didn't take long before he was covered in wounds. Although Bai Yang was trying his best to fight back, the effect was very weak. He wasn't a match for Red Dragon at all, and after a while, his nose was bleeding, and his body was covered in bruises. Go Red Dragon! The crowd cheered once more. These people had placed a lot of bets on Red Dragon. Red Dragon didn't disappoint them, suppressing his opponent this time. It was foreseeable that Bai Yang would fall soon. Yuren regretted it. It was such a great opportunity. He didn't know if the Red Dragon would appear again in the third match. After all, if this went on, wouldn't the owner of the boxing arena lose his money? The Red Dragon should have been replaced in the third round, right? As expected, the Red Dragon won again. Cheers rang out from the stands again. Red Dragon's opponent's heart caved in and he died. This kind of thing could not be faked. Excited shouts rose and fell because the Red Dragon had brought another huge sum of wealth to everyone. This made everyone's blood boil. Many people had placed huge bets on this match. It could be said that this match had made these people unimaginable wealth. Just when everyone thought that the boss of the casino would be replaced, something unexpected happened. After the battle, the Red Dragon did not leave the arena. Instead, he continued to sit at the edge of the arena to rest. In other words, the Red Dragon would still appear in the third match. This made everyone excited again. Could it be that the Red Dragon was going to continue competing? Wouldn't that bring them another huge sum of wealth? Soon, the list of contestants for the third match was announced on the screen. It was still the Red Dragon, and his opponent was still a newbie, Black Cat. In the audience seats, the people were excited again. They were all making calls non-stop. Secretary Wang, you transfer all the company's money to my account. I'm going to play big. Yes, that's right. All of it. A bald boss took the phone and ordered his secretary. Manager son, I'll use my company's building and all my real estate as collateral for a loan of 200 million. Yes. Don't you trust me? I'll get someone to send you the property certificate. Transfer the money to my account immediately. The middle-aged fat man who looked like a big boss also said to the other side of the phone, Dad, it's me. Transfer all the money in the house to me. Quick, I have a big deal. A young master was also on the phone. Son, I'm your father. Quickly withdraw the overseas investment and give it to me. Immediately, I want it now. What's that little penalty? I'm telling you, if you give me the money now, after tonight, I'll be on the rich list. Another boss was raising funds. Brotherly? I'm Scarface. Lend me 500 million. This was an underworld boss who was in a gambling frenzy. He was borrowing money through the underground money house. There were countless people who were making calls like this in the field. They all realized that this was the biggest opportunity of their lives. The Red Dragon was actually going to compete again. They knew that this was probably the last time the Red Dragon would compete. The boss of the boxing arena would definitely not let him compete again tomorrow. This kind of ever-victorious general would be losing money if he were to compete again. Of course, the people present were not worried that the boxing arena would arrange for the Red Dragon to fake the third match, because it would be obvious at a glance. The boss of the boxing arena would definitely not do something that would arouse public anger, unless he colluded with the Red Dragon and let the Red Dragon be killed. But that was impossible. No matter how much they gave him, the Red Dragon wouldn't choose to cooperate with the boxing arena and get killed. What was the point of asking for benefits when he was dead? What's more, a fighter like the Red Dragon was a pillar in any underground boxing arena. Yuren didn't want to bet 500,000 in one go, because if he lost, he wouldn't be able to pay it back. But the people around him were raising money like crazy, and the young man was putting all of his money into the bet as well, more than 1,500,000 in total. The butcher also put down 600,000 yuan. Yuren's eyes turned red as he gritted his teeth and bet all of the 500,000. Yuren thought that since everyone was so confident in betting all of their money, then naturally it wouldn't go wrong. However, the third match was beyond everyone's expectations. Red Dragon was indeed strong, and in the third match, he was still as brave as ever, but his opponent didn't seem weak either. He wasn't like the previous two opponents who were defeated so quickly. Chapter 1063. Chapter 1061. Complete defeat. Although they weren't very confident, they weren't too worried after yesterday's experience. But Yuran was a little worried. He turned to the meat seller. Why didn't Red Dragon defeat his opponent this time? Why does it seem like they're evenly matched? It's fine. It was the same yesterday. It's the last round, after all. We need to find a strong opponent, otherwise it wouldn't be exciting. The meat seller said casually. Oh. Yuran nodded, but he was still a little worried. But the result of the third round was out of everyone's expectations. The situation on the stage changed drastically. Red Dragon took a few heavy punches from Black Cat, and his eyes started to see stars. Cries of surprise came from the audience. They could never have imagined that the Crimson Dragon, who had always been invincible, would be beaten by the Black Cat. Go Red Dragon! Go Red Dragon! Red Dragon, hold on. Many people in the audience began to go crazy. They couldn't believe that Red Dragon would lose. After all, Red Dragon took a few punches last night, but he still managed to turn the situation around. But today was different. No matter how strong young Mao Lin was, he was still a gangster. Facing a golden-class physical practitioner like Red Dragon, there was nothing he could do. But now, he was facing a mystic mid-phase physical practitioner. Fighter Lee wanted to kill Red Dragon, and that was a matter of minutes. In front of him, Red Dragon was just a one-hit deal. But Fighter Lee didn't kill Red Dragon in one move. That would be too shocking, and it would raise suspicions. He purposely suppressed his strength, making it seem like he was on par with Red Dragon, and the two of them were indeed on par. Fighter Lee took a step-by-step approach, attacking the Red Dragon bit by bit. Red Dragon seemed to have realized that his opponent this time wasn't normal, but he wasn't a golden class yet, so he wasn't considered a real practitioner yet. He wasn't too sure of Fighter Lee's strength, especially when Fighter Lee was suppressing him. He thought that Fighter Lee was on par with him. Although the Crimson Dragon had suffered a loss before, he attributed it to his carelessness. After adjusting his state, he punched the black cat. Bang! Red Dragon's fist collided with Fighter Lee's, but there was a gotcha sound. The Red Dragon wailed. His arm drooped down. His right arm was crippled. Fighter Lee laughed coldly in his heart. What a fool. With this level of skill, he still dared to show off in front of him? If it weren't for the fact that he didn't want the audience to suspect him, the Red Dragon would already be a dead man. Seeing that the Red Dragon seemed to be at a disadvantage again, the audience began to worry. Although they did not know that one of the Crimson Dragon's arms had been crippled, they still had high hopes that the Crimson Dragon could turn the situation around. Rise, Red Dragon. Kill him. Kill the black cat. Red Dragon. You can do it. Invincible Red Dragon. Kill that black cat bastard. The audience went crazy and cheered for the Crimson Dragon. They couldn't wait to beat the black cat up for the Crimson Dragon. After all, they had placed a huge bet on the Red Dragon. If the Red Dragon lost, they would go bankrupt. The sweat on Uren's forehead was getting thicker and thicker. He never would have thought that the invincible Red Dragon would be so weak all of a sudden. It didn't seem like he was a match for the black cat now. Please don't lose. Please don't lose. Uren prayed silently in his heart, but the situation on the stage was not looking good. Jangwon looked at the scene through the screen, very pleased with himself as he sipped on the red wine in his hand. Fighter Lee's not bad. Huh? You know how to act. That's right, congratulations, Master Jangwon. This match will bring Master Jangwon more than 5 billion. Scorpion was starting to admire Jangwon now. This guy really knew how to make money. Humph, that's right. Don't you know who I am? I specialize in this kind of business. Jangwon himphed, pleased with himself. He was now a famous person in the Firewolves, and his reputation had surpassed his big brother, Enjinda. He was one of the pillars of the Firewolves. That's right, it's my honor to work with you, Master Jangwon. The professor started kissing Jangwon's ass as well. It couldn't be helped. In this day and age, whoever could make money for the gang was the boss. Even the professor's biochemical research couldn't be done without Jangwon's support. Jangwon was the bravest person the professor had ever seen. Grabbing people on the streets and doing experiments on them, this was something even the Firewolves didn't dare do. Sooner or later, something big was going to happen. But since Scorpion was the scapegoat, the professor didn't care. The arena's income had far exceeded his expectations. The goal the Firewolves gave Jangwon was to use this arena to make 1 billion in black gold within a year. But it hadn't even been a month, and Jangwon had already exceeded the goal. Just one night, he had at least 5 billion. And this wasn't even done with the statistics yet. It wouldn't just be 5 billion when the statistics came out. Finally, Red Dragon was sent flying by Black Cat's heavy punches. His chest had completely caved in, forming a terrifying shape. In such a situation, it was simply impossible for a person to still be alive. The stands were completely silent. The audience was stunned. They didn't expect Red Dragon, whom they had high hopes for, to lose like this. This time, they didn't yell for Red Dragon to stand up, because it was impossible for him to do so. Red Dragon's ribs were shattered, and his entire body was flattened. How was he supposed to get up? They couldn't believe the reality in front of them, but they had to accept this result because Black Cat had already raised his hands, and the crowd was counting down. Black Cat won. After a moment of silence, the sound of wailing and cursing resounded from the spectators' stand. Almost everyone had bet on the Red Dragon's victory. Under such circumstances, no one had bet on the Black Cat, so they all lost. In an instant, they had gone from being awesome bosses to penniless people who were in debt. Some were beating their chests, some were crying, some wanted to commit suicide. Chapter 1064. Chapter 1062. Excited Xiao Xiao, just when Yuran was at a loss of what to do and didn't know what to do, someone found him and brought him to an office backstage of the boxing arena. In front of everyone. Yuran, you borrowed 500,000 from the arena. When are you going to pay it back? Scorpion asked with a cold face. He was ordered by young Master One to settle this matter as soon as possible. It could be considered as a reward for Fighter Lee's victory tonight. Yuran was dumbfounded. He didn't expect that the opponent would come to him right after the match ended. But 500,000 to Yuran was something he couldn't possibly take out. That was 500,000. To you, Ron, it was a huge amount of money. This 500,000. Didn't your arena take it back as well? Why don't we just forget about it? It's my first time here. I don't know the rules, Yurin said carefully. Huh? Scorpion heard Yurin's words and laughed arrogantly. Ha 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 ha. I say, old man Yurin, are you stupid? It's true that the money was taken back by our boxing arena, but you lost the bet. If you won, would you not want the money? Yurin was speechless. He was right. He lost the bet, but if he won, would he not want the money? Yurin, I've done my research on you. Just take out 500,000 and we'll be fine. Scorpion smiled coldly. If not, don't blame us for what we're going to do. We, the arena, are very trustworthy. We always keep our word. Don't think that you'll get lucky. I'll give you 5 days to collect the money. If you don't pay me back in 5 days, I'll send people to capture your entire family to fight in the arena. Capture his entire family to fight in the arena? Yurin's heart skipped a beat when he heard Scorpion's words. You want me to fight in the arena? Yurin jumped in fright. His skinny body, how could he fight in the arena? Wouldn't he be killed in a few moves? Not you. Your entire family. Your entire family will be sent to the arena. Ha ha. Little Scorpion laughed cruelly. Yurin heard Scorpion's threat, and he almost fainted on the ground. He was scared. He was really scared. Scorpion wasn't the same as the other gangsters. Yurin had a stall in the market, and while he would occasionally get blackmailed, these gangsters knew their limits. They might cause trouble for him and stop his business, but they wouldn't dare commit murder or arson. But Scorpion was different. Yurin saw with his own eyes that he had killed 3 people in 3 matches. These were human lives. Yurin believed that there was nothing this young man wouldn't dare to do. What you're doing is illegal. Yurin gritted his teeth. Quack? Breaking the law? Ha ha ha. Scorpion laughed madly. You can call the police, but you need to think about the consequences. We are a criminal organization, not a small gang. Now that you've called the police, you can just wait to die. As for your wife and daughter, I'll help you sell them to a brothel in the south and have them ked to death. Kaka. Yurin shivered from head to toe. The young man in front of him was simply a demon. The consequences he was talking about were even scarier than death. Thinking about his wife and daughter being humiliated like this, Yurin was scared out of his wits and quickly gave up on the idea of calling the police. At this moment, a lackey dragged the Red Dragon's body to Scorpion's office. Scorpion bro, what do we do with this dead man? See if there are any good organs, cut them off and sell them. Throw the rest into the crocodile pond. Scorpion looked at the motionless Red Dragon and waved his hand. Yes, Scorpion bro. The lackey dragged the body out of the room and followed Scorpion's instructions. Yurin's scalp went numb. Weren't these people too cruel? They were already dead, and they still wanted to cut off their organs to sell? That was too evil. However, this only made Yurin even more fearful. These people were really capable of doing anything. In fact, this scene was purposely arranged by Scorpion to scare Yurin otherwise. If people died every day, and he had to ask for instructions every time someone died, wouldn't Scorpion die from exhaustion? Yurin, 5 days. Do you hear me? If you can't get the money in 5 days, you'll have to fight in the ring. Scorpion waved his hand impatiently. You can scram now. Don't even think about running away. I'll arrange for people to monitor your house. Yurin's body shivered. He did think about running away. He couldn't afford to mess with them, but he could hide. He thought about giving up the grocery store here and bringing his wife and kids away from Songshan, hiding outside and starting a new business. However, this idea could not be realized now. Yurin sighed. He could only go home and think of a way. He really regretted it. He shouldn't have listened to the meat seller and come to watch some underground fighting tournament. He shouldn't have been tempted by that unrealistic pie in the sky. Yurin stumbled out of the arena, and Scorpion looked at his back, a cold smile on his face. It was Friday in the blink of an eye, and Linny had been driving Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao to and fro these days, getting used to this lifestyle. Xie Yufeng seemed to have calmed down quite a bit. After getting beaten up by Wu Qintian, he became a lot more low-key. He didn't do anything, and Linny didn't bother with him. Pinliang looked at the bruised and swollen Xie Yufeng, a cold smile on his face. What an idiot. He didn't even know his opponent's level, and he kept jumping up and down. Now he was at a disadvantage, wasn't he? Pinliang was now a cunning man, and he didn't show it on the surface, but he had been observing the conflict between Xie Yufeng and Lin Yi. Liang bro, that Xie Yufeng looks like he's done for? Has he calmed down? Xiaofu had been paying attention to Xie Yufeng as well. Just an idiot. Ignore him. Pinliang felt that someone like Xie Yufeng wasn't on the same level as him anymore. Pinliang's next step would be a high-leveled fight, and he wouldn't use some middle school-level moves anymore. Xiao Xiao was very excited and happy today, because Linny had promised to take her to a race tonight. So, during class, she was in a state of excitement. Her face flushed red, and she cheered from time to time, making Linny a bit restless. Chapter 1065. Underground Racetrack. One reason was that they spent most of their time in school, and Lin Yi couldn't do anything that would offend people's morals in class. Plus, Tang Yun was there in the car, and Lin Yi couldn't get close to Xiao Xiao alone. Plus, Lin Yi didn't want to go any further with Xiao Xiao. It wouldn't be fair to Tang Yun. As far as Lin Yi was concerned, his first girl had to be Tang Yun. She was his first girlfriend. After all, Tang Yun was a big part of Lin Yi's heart. Of course, if Tang Yun wanted to have a threesome with Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi wouldn't mind. He wasn't a conservative person, and a conservative mindset wouldn't allow him to be an assassin. Xiao Xiao, what are you doing? Lin Yi had to remind Xiao Xiao that they were in class. Hee, nothing. I just wanted to be night faster. I'm looking forward to it. Xiao Xiao always wished for time to be slower, since she didn't have much time left. But today, she wished for time to be faster. Have you contacted the racetrack? Lin Yi asked. Lin Yi could contact the racetrack through Zhou Ruoming, but he wasn't as familiar with it as Xiao Xiao. Under normal circumstances, Lin Yi didn't want to go to Zhou Ruoming. I've contacted them. I signed up a long time ago. I've paid the deposit. Xiao Xiao said. Tonight, the first race is ours. You paid the deposit? Lin Yi blinked. Isn't it 200,000 per race? You have that much money? Lin Yi knew about Xiao Xiao's family situation, so he was curious about the deposit. Although Lin Yi was confident in winning, the organizers didn't know if he could win or not. That was why they made everyone pay a deposit of 200,000. If he won, it would be refunded, and if he lost, it would be kept. Don't forget, I just got 5 million from that idiot Iron Fist Wu, Xiao Xiao said proudly. Only then did Lin Yi remember that Xiao Xiao already had a huge amount of money. The race was at 6 at night, and it was the last self-study period in school. Naturally, they wouldn't be able to attend. Lin Yi told Tang Yun, the miss, and Yushu that he was going to keep Xiao Xiao company at night before leaving the school with Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao had packed her bag a long time ago, as if she was waiting for this moment to come to school. Where are we going now? In the car, Lin Yi asked Feng Xiao Xiao. Go to Mount Belong's Coiling Mountain Road. It's a paradise for underground racers. Xiao Xiao said. Do you know the location? I'm not sure. Lin Yi shook his head. You should drive it. Lin Yi got off the car and gave Xiao Xiao the driver's seat. Today, Lin Yi was driving Xiao Xiao's Audi TT. He'd switched cars in the morning at Xiao Xiao's house. Xiao Xiao didn't reject it. She was very familiar with the road from here to Mount Bolong. But she'd only gone to watch races before. She'd never participated in one. Xiao Xiao thought that racing was exciting, but she knew where she stood. She'd lose for sure if she went on stage, and Xiao Xiao didn't have that much money to spend. Mount Bolong was a small tourist attraction near Songshan, and because it couldn't make ends meet, it had stopped operating a few years ago. There was no other reason. It was because there were too many mountains near Songshan City. The newly developed Shuangyan Mountain was even more beautiful than Bolong Mountain. The resorts inside were also newly built, and the accommodation and dining environment were also good. Naturally, no one went to Bolong Mountain anymore, and the tourist attraction of Bolong Mountain was forced to close. Although the attraction was closed, the mountain road was still there. It wasn't in repair, and some of the fences were gone. The road wasn't in good condition either. But this road didn't have any other use other than going to the top of Mount Bolong, and all the businesses here had left. Who would spend money to repair the road? Xiao Xiao's car drove to the empty space at the foot of Mount Bolong. There were all kinds of cars parked here, and the cars were all different. From the cheapest Alto to the best of the world's famous sports cars, there was everything. Beside the cars in the open space, there were also small groups of people chatting, drinking, and flirting with girls. Most of them were dressed in weird clothes, with weird hair, just like the old Xiao Xiao. Lin couldn't help but frown at the sight of these non-mainstream people. To be honest, he didn't have much of a good impression of these crazy guys and gals. How could they face their parents if they didn't study properly and came out a race? But then again, a lot of these people were spoiled by their families. If their parents didn't give them money, how would they buy a car? Of course, in addition to these non-mainstream men and women, there were also some middle-aged men who were obviously gangsters. They had shaved heads and crew cuts, wore hurdle vests, and had tattoos all over their arms. They looked like gangsters. Birds of a feather flocked together, and there was a small group of people who drove sports cars. They were all well-dressed celebrities. There were white-collared workers from big companies, as well as real rich kids. These people were here for excitement, without a doubt. Xiao Xiao's car wasn't the worst here, but it wasn't a good car either. So, when she came to the empty space, she didn't attract much attention. Only the non-mainstream people who recognized Xiao Xiao's car came over. "Feng sis, you're here." The one who spoke was the non-mainstream young man who took a picture of Lin Yi on the business street. "Yeah." Xiao Xiao nodded. "Is everything arranged?" "Yes, Sister Feng. I've already discussed it with Brother Pit. You'll be the first to fight," the trendy young man said. Pit Bro was the organizer of this underground race, and it was said that he had some underworld background. He was a big shot in Songshan. Of course, this was all trash to Lin Yi. He could even beat up people like Zihua if he wanted to, let alone Pit Bro, who only had a bit of background in the underworld. It was just that Lin Yi didn't want to talk to him. 200,000 was a small number to Lin Yi, and Lin Yi didn't want to look for that Pit Bro to break the rules. "Who's my opponent?" Xiao Xiao nodded. With her sunglasses on, she looked like a big sister, and Lin Yi found it funny. "You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.